Welcome to, oh, not yet. It's still preparing.
Prepare, prepare, prepare,
Yeah, man. There we go.
enhance.
And there it is. Welcome to this week's edition of the Late Sesh. As always, Skilbo One, and I've got Red Setter Farm with me, so it's going to be a good night. What's happening out there, everybody?
What's happening, everybody? What's going on, Scobo? How's your evening? How's your day? Monday, man. Monday madness.
Yeah, man. Been working outside all damn day.
Memorial Day. It's a good day
You
to do
got it.
that. Did you get a chance to barbecue?
No, I didn't eat shit today.
Me neither. I've been working my tail off, man.
hmm You know how
Like
it goes.
I
Look at
guess
the.
if I'll shout out the bro show last night, the Michigan Bros Grow Show live Sunday nights. Last night I didn't do much dialogue. We had Brown Guy 420 on, so I wanted him to tell his
Definitely
story
get
as
it.
much as he can. But I was back there harvesting in the cut, man. I'm just hanging out, hanging him back,
You
just
know,
kind
I
of
was listening to him
harvesting.
talk, but like a lot of people, we were watching you work, which was kind of cool. It was kind of like listening to a podcast while watching somebody else work their ass off
Sure,
in the
yeah,
grill for
yeah,
once. You know what I mean?
yeah.
We got some early people here. Let's see who we got.
Nice
We
hanging
got
out.
we got Cheers, APK AZ, Dankman Dan, Tara Wilson, Chris Mertz, Green Nugs 420. Hell yeah. What's going on, everybody? I hope that you have had a safe and enjoyable weekend out there. It's definitely been warm. So it's time to cool it down a little bit here. The sun is setting. Let's have a nice sesh. Do a little talk here. We got to see some friends over the weekend, and we got to get all kinds of good cannabis swapped and traded. And the first thing that I grabbed here, let's see, I've got sour melon to choose from. I've got some of Spartan grown snow cane to choose from. I have some, what is this? I've got a little bit of headlights left from Spartan. And I have, let's see, that blue lime pie that I got off of Smiley, that's gone already. That one
Ooh,
was definitely tasty.
sounds good.
Yeah, man. And I have Bridezilla still that I've been saving. I just have to make sure I didn't lose it. You know how that goes, right?
I heard
You
that
get
Bridezilla's
it was
strong, tasty.
definitely nice. Yeah, it kicked ass. Who else is here? Spartan Grown showed up just to hear his name. You know how that goes. KGB, what's happening? Miss D's Nugs, good evening.
Yeah, I finally got chat pulled up.
Normish
What's going
Micro.
on, everybody?
Oh, are you John Boy? What's happening tonight? Are you playing the game tonight? You got the chat up and everything?
I got the
Damn,
chat up and everything.
bro,
I
it's gonna
always have
be
the chat
epic
up. I didn't have the chat up last night because I was operating off the cell phone. But
for sure.
yeah, man, it's been a busy one. That's what I've been doing. I've been harvesting and working in the yard like crazy. The last couple of days, I've been trying to get the outdoor rocking, and I had to miss that get together, man. I had to get all my planting done. It's getting too late in the season, so
Yeah, man.
I try to get all my stuff done, man, because then I'm hoping like July, August, I can just kind of watch plants grow. I can feed in, filler crops when needed, and it's not as hectic, this time of season, this time in fall, man, when you're putting it all away.
Let me
So
turn this on for a minute here and show off this
yeah, let's
pretty
see what we got
snow
there.
cane. You know,
Oh, that does look great.
of course, I've been picking off of it and shit, but
That looks
this is the
delicious.
winning
All this
cut
fuzz.
that Spartan won with for the last 2020 grow off from last season when they
Oh, is
grew out
that
the
what
snow
that
cane.
is?
Yeah,
Nice.
man. So this has always been a special one when I get to try it again because, oh man, it's just lovely. I think there's a little bit of salad action in here. There might still be some CPG in the grinder, so get a late evening salad going here. A little bit of pain relief going on.
So I noticed in the chat, I believe it was you. You showed off that bag of hemp that you got.
Yeah,
Was that you?
yeah, it's right here.
CBG
That's
and
right here.
bam,
Yeah.
dude, that stuff came fast. I remember you just
Happy
ordered
buds.
that like we were hanging out and you ordered it like the other day.
Yeah, yeah.
With the
I just
polish
ordered
and all
another
that,
one.
didn't you?
I just ordered
No
another one.
shit.
Yeah.
No shit, huh?
Yeah. Well, I got really good news is I talked to my daughter today, and she deals with a lot of intestinal issues. She has Crohn's, IBS, the whole litany of stuff, and she's been on pain medication for a really long time. So it's concerning. She's pretty young, and So she had a card, but she only was able in the past to basically smoke like Bubba Kush. Anything else that she smoked would give her like crazy ass fucking anxiety. So she was like, it works for the pain, but then afterwards I just get so deep into my own head that I'm like, fuck, man. So that was one of the main reasons that I sourced this CPG. And I want to give a shout out to Brown Guy 420 for talking to us about it last night. And then Jack Greenstock came through the DMs and pushed some more information my way, which was really cool. I love how the community works when you want to learn something, man. So
Sorry about
anyway,
that.
she
I thought
tried
I
it.
was muted.
I thought I was muted. So she tried it today and she didn't have any pain for 3.5 hours, which is sensational. So I went ahead and I ordered some more.
Make a little note of that in your notebook too. We can talk about pain management and see where this CBG is going. I'm incredibly I'm sensitive to the topic of pain management, man. It's been a long, wild ride where I've lost a lot of friends due to pain management, due to opioids, things like that. So in since it is Memorial Day, and I want to give a shout out to everybody in service, everybody who has served, and I want to reach out my appreciation there. One of my really good friends, an ex Marine. I'm 35, so when I graduated high school, it was 2 years post 9/11, and a majority of my friends went to enlisted.
Yeah.
And I never actually enlisted myself. I've never been into the military, but I do give a lot of credit for those who do. My father was in the military. My dad, he was in the Army. And it's a crazy story. I'll digress just for a quick second. My dad was on his way to Vietnam. He got drafted, as most 17, 18, 19-year-old kids did back in the late 60s, early 70s. He was drafted, and his plane was actually on its way to Vietnam. They were supposed to land in Vietnam. He was expecting to walk in Vietnam, and he was infantry, front lines, the whole nine. His plane landed in Anchorage, Alaska. He didn't even land in Vietnam. Mid-flight, they got redirection of orders, and I kind of thank that redirect for for me being here for some strange.
You were the
reason.
celebration party when Papa got home?
I don't know if I was a celebration. It was many years later that I came. But you know, we all know what happened in Vietnam, and it's just who's to say what would have happened had his plane have landed there, right? So, anyways, I give a lot of credit for everybody who's all served. My good friend who I grew up with out in like Coldwater, we have a middle of the state, down by Indiana. We have a little lake house on a chain of lakes, and I grew up in somebody that my dad worked with. It just so happened that they had a son my age, and we grew up together we were like neighbors in the lake house, just so that my dad worked with the guy. So anyways, long story short, he goes to Iraq post 9/11, as many of my friends did. He came, he made it through and everything. Fast forward, let's say it was just 3 years ago. So fast forward many years. Came home and very bad PTSD. The best they could do for him was prescribe him opioids. He was into cannabis, but the opioids took him over. And long story short, the same week, as a matter of fact, that I attended my funeral, my really really good friend that I have the flow cut, and thanks to the flow cut, the Granddaddy Purple, and those who are kind of in remembrance of him. That same week, I attended both those funerals, both because of opioids, painkillers, and the whole nine. So it's a topic I'm very sensitive to.
Yeah.
And
Man.
also, and it's just my appreciation also for the military kind of wrapped that up into two little things there. So I don't mind if you want to talk about some pain management and some stuff like that. I'd love to get that kind of information out to people, man. It's
well,
it's an important topic.
Let me start by saying this, that and I know that if you take any kind of pain medication for a long time that it is not beneficial to the body. And I know that basically everybody out there that's listening to the sound of my voice right now knows someone directly in their life that has been affected by the opioid crisis. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a coworker, but it's very, very fucking serious. And, you know, it's something that we don't normally talk about because it is a hot button topic. Obviously, first and foremost, cannabis is not legal, nor is it decriminalized in the United States. So, nor is it in all parts of the world. And we know that people listen to cannabis podcasts the world over. So sometimes you got to make do with what you can. But I would say that what I told my daughter this evening is I said, you know what? I said, I'm proud of you. I said, I'm proud of you for trusting me enough to take my word on something, give it a try, and then basically just see if it works for you. I didn't bug her. I wasn't right there like, is it working? Is it working? Do you feel any different? It's like, dude, just, you know, go do your thing. You're cool. I just know that we can't keep doing what we've been doing as far as managing our pain symptoms. A lot of times, your pain issues can be directly a result of inflammation. Now, that inflammation may express itself through migraines, it may express itself through back pain, it may express itself through a litany of things. But you have to be mindful that you also, what you put into your body for food source and what you drink makes a big difference on how it runs too. So I'm not trying to be Captain Nutrition here on some bullshit. I just I need somebody to do a baby come back on me. Come on, Red, hit it one time.
No, man, because I like where you're vibing at, man. It's good. Holistic.
If you say holistic, people get a fucked up viewpoint. They're like, that shit's fucking crackpot, man.
Yeah, I know.
It's got a bad connotation.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you, and I'm not saying to you. I'm
okay. While you're and let me go ahead and go through.
Not even. What I wanted to say before I get off that is I forgot, man. Shit, I haven't even started smoking yet. Gosh darn it, Scobo.
We love you, Red.
Keep going.
It'll come back to you. So I'm gonna start reading some names.
It was on to what you were talking about because you were like, save me. But you were the holistic, the food.
Yeah, it's the connotations.
So another personal story.
Baby came back on that one. I didn't even have to clap for him.
I like examples. I like personal examples. I'm not just talking out of a whim. You know what I mean? Somebody told me this, so you should try it, right? I like to know firsthand what the deal is. So I always thought the same thing. I was like, you are what you eat and all of this stuff, but I never really actually applied it. I continued to every now and then, if I'm in a rush, I'll eat McDonald's. Every now and then, eating ice cream and stuff like that. So I dove off of a dock in 2015, maybe 2016. Oh no, it was earlier than that. It was like 2013. It was like 7 years ago. Okay. I had actually just met Miss Red. It was just before Miss Red and I had started dating. So about 7 years ago, I DJ a wedding up north in Lake Charlevoix. And then the next day, some friends and I were hanging out. We go out on the boat. This is another reason I'm not a big drinker. I put back, a majority of a bottle of Hendrix gin. And we're out on the boat for the most of the day, throwing a football around, having a good time. I decided I was a diver in high school. I was like, I'm going to dive off this dock. And I did like a running man. And a lot of those lakes up in northern Michigan, those docks that are really, really long, they're long for a reason because they go out over sandbars and shit like that. This is one of those docks. I should have known. I mean, we were hanging out at the sandbar knee deep. And I was like, I used to shallow dive all the time. I'm going to shallow dive off this dock and
off the side and not the end is what you're saying.
Oh, off the end of the dock, dude.
Okay.
Like wingman out, and I'm gonna skim the top of the water like a stone, and you know what I mean. I used to do that when I was, believe it or not, right? I used to be able to do these shallow dives, and so I tried it. Not intoxicated. I did a deep dive and I head first into the sandbar. I kicked myself in the back of the head. I blew out my back. I wrecked my neck. I wrecked my back. I'm incredibly fortunate, man. One of Miss Red's patients is an older lady whose son is actually paralyzed for doing the exact same thing. He's in a wheelchair probably for the rest of his life. Another thing that I think about constantly is how grateful I am, how close I was to being in that exact same scenario. Long story short, stiff back for a couple of weeks. Didn't think much of it. Never went and saw medical attention. I was smoking Canatonic that week, so all CBD, no THC. I was kind of like, I just got a stiff back, whatever. Well, a couple weeks later, and months later, years later down the line, I was getting headaches. It would feel like somebody kind of had a knife going up my spine into the back of my head, maybe into the back of my brain, and it was like that for years and years and years. I had to constantly stretch and crack and attempt to crack. It wouldn't actually crack, but just constant headaches.
Once it's fucked up, it won't crack anymore.
Bad inflammation all the time. So I decided to cut out some red meat out of my diet. Never attempted the red meat thing out of my diet before. I had tried eating a lot of veggies and stuff like that, but never actually tried like getting rid of McDonald's and like keeping it away. So I did it, and I didn't eat any red meat for, I don't know, man, like 6 months or something. Yeah, I eat chicken, I eat fish and stuff like that. But long story short, man, and beginning not long after I cut like the high inflammation type foods out of my diet, I was able to like start cracking my neck, and my neck started to crack up towards the base of my skull. And this is like the end of August. Okay, every few days, like, and I mean, I'm cracking it 4 or 5 times a day, right? Every few days I could actually feel the pressure points going down my spine. Okay, mind you, this began at the base of my skull, and I was
C1.
I mean, it was cracking at the top of my spine, dude. It felt weird. It was the bottom of my skull, and that's where it would pop, and it really felt weird. Skilbo, it is in my shoulder now. It's made its way. I can no longer crack my neck. I actually have a hard time cracking my neck, but it would crack its way all the way into my scapula, all the way into where I had this old knot and this old issue. I've had these inflamed ribs for many years.
It's like a car accident. That's really common in car accident people to have that. And what I always feel like is it's when you have an issue like that goes untreated for years.
Yeah.
That it basically, here's something. Okay, let's just bro science the shit out of this for a second. Okay, there's my caveat, guys.
And there's a car accident actually in my past also, which is something where I think the rib issues had stemmed from. And I actually went and caught an EKG because I thought I was having heart issues because my ribs were so like, it was in my ribs. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is that your nerves, if they constantly are firing pain signals, you can almost, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything like that, but you can almost burn those things out so that the circuit, instead of staying closed occasionally or open, it will just stay stuck. So you can have like constant pain issues from something that's not really, I've always called it phantom pain. One of the issues that I deal with is I have issues with my C1 and C2. So when you talk about right at the top of your head, I was making jokes today. I've worked my ass out outside all day. And I was sitting in the chair, smoking a joint with my wife on the deck. And I'm just looking off in the distance and my head's doing this stupid fucking shake shit. And I can't stop it. It's very fucking rhythmic. It'll do it like every 7 to 12 seconds. Nothing you can do about it. If you start getting angry about it, you're just going to be angry and still fucking shaking your head. So she's looking at me and I'm not looking at her. And I said, you know what I feel like? I said, I feel like a fucking third base coach right now, like trying to tell dude, no, hold your spot. No, don't steal that base yet, because you just can't stop that stupid fucking shake. So anyway, man, it's why I do this. It's why I grow. It's why I'm constantly looking for different strains. It's what made the rollerball recipe. The rollerball recipe really isn't fucking anything spectacular. All it is is it's like old timey cannabis from the 1800s. All I'm doing is making an alcohol tincture out of it. I'm ripping the good shit off of the plant, and I'm mixing that with a series of fucking plant oils. And if you want to know which ones, all you need to do is Google which oils have anti-inflammatory properties. There you go. Make the mix however you want to do it. There's no market on this shit. It's I've always been about trying to just help me help myself and then try to help other people along the way, and that's what I've tried to do with the panel. And you guys are my friends, man, so I don't want to see you in pain. Here, just throw them at you, dude. I don't give a fuck.
I have a belief. It's a little flighty, okay. Sometimes my beliefs are a little bit flighty, but I have this belief.
Imagine my surprise.
What? It's a little scientific, it has to do with evolution. If you were to believe something like natural selection or evolution or something like that, humans, cannabis, maybe chickens, maybe dogs, maybe the four together, I don't know, but humans and cannabis for sure, over a long period of time, I have a belief that we have been consuming cannabis for so long. That's where our CB1, CB2 receptors actually come from, is that it's a co-evolution of human plant homeostasis type of thing. You said the 1800s, and I want to go back to the conversation you got, because I didn't get a chance to jump in, man. I was working, and you guys were starting to talk about
wait, you're looking at the chat right now, right, Red?
So, I'm actually no, I'm not. I'm kind of looking at you. And
well, what I was going to say is I want the people in the chat. I told Red before we went on the air, and he was like, "Man, I'm sorry, I really couldn't get involved too much last night. I was trimming, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Well, actually, it was pretty cool, man." I said, because it was like listening to a podcast. So what I found myself doing, and I know a lot of other people did, is we were watching Red's camera the whole time that BG and everybody else in the panel was talking, and it was kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like sitting there being the boss and watching somebody else do all the heavy lifting for you while you just get to enjoy the pretty picture. And the only thing we were missing was the smell, but there's trade-offs to these things.
Dude,
guys.
I wish I could have passed that smell through the screen. I'm telling you, man, one of these days.
You don't have to tell me shit, dude. You're my hash dude, and you grow the dank.
We have this connection to this plant, man. I think some of us just have it subconsciously. I think that that's kind of one of those reasons that I was just it's almost like I was instinctively or intuitively attracted to this plant. I went through the DARE program before I saw cannabis, but the DARE program made me not really afraid to go for. I was kind of nervous and afraid of like drugs, but not cannabis. For some reason, I had heard the fuel. I had heard the repurposing, and I had heard about hemp and things, and I was always very, very curious about being resourceful. They pounded those 3 R's into us: reduce, reuse, recycle, and these days regenerate. And I was always like, if this is what you're pounding into us, why aren't we using this plant that you can provide? What is it, like 7 acres of trees, the same amount of paper as 1 acre of hemp, was the one thing that I always took out of a real young age. And I was like, wow, save the trees. Yeah, that's one use. Anyways, I'm digressing again.
Baby, come back.
Man, that whole coevolution thing.
That was like the Terrence McKenna is what that reminds me of. Is
similar theory. Even a little more believable though, because the stoned ape theory is pretty wild. I have a tendency to kind of believe it, to be honest. It's pretty scientific and plausible. For those that don't know, Food of the Gods is a pretty cool book by Terrence McKenna. You should check it out. It also actually goes into histories of substances, why a lot of substances are illegal, not just in America, but around the world, why some substances actually dominate the spectrum, like alcohol, tobacco, maybe even other substances, sages and things like that. But it gets really into why opium's popular in the Middle East, why
why is hash popular?
Yeah, those type. Well, I think that hash is popular as a way of transporting and exporting
copious amounts.
Yeah, in a way, but I mean, the process goes back so far. I really do think.
I always think of it as charas, man.
Like you're just the resins on you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it can go back so far to the dawn of like humanity if we want to
we're,
like
we're saying
really,
this, and I
really
know you can
talk
taste the
about that.
peppery,
But
right? Can't you taste it right now?
oh yeah, when you're
Yeah,
eating
yeah.
hash, yeah. Oh yeah. I eating hash has got it almost like leaves a like a coating on your
Red,
mouth,
roll a
almost like
joint.
it might protect you. Talking so much, man. I need to do
Talking so
something
much,
with my hands. I'm just sitting here.
I gotta
So
get you to smoke some, man.
I
It's the
know,
late
man. I
sesh.
know. It's I got the rainbow driver in the bowl. I'm bouncing all around my point, dude, with that co-evolution thing, because I just wanted to shout out the slight conversation that was starting to drift that way. Spartan kind of brought it up a little bit. I think Brown Guy might have brought it up a little bit, but it kind of had to do with when they basically made hemp and cannabis illegal, and they took the cannabinoids out of our food supply, out of all kinds of food supply, our animals food supply, our food supply. We were no longer supplementing our CB1 CB2 receptors. And I also have a crackpot theory that has a lot to do with the rise in disease, autisms, and
Yeah.
all the way
I
down the
always feel
line,
like it's like that
cancers.
that balance of like we went away from like healthier foods and we went into like extreme preservatives,
Oh
and we
yeah.
got into like a lot of, instead of simple ingredients, they became very specific. You know what I mean? Very hard to pronounce.
And
I
they're
know.
they're carcinogenic is the thing. I mean, meats are
Yeah,
carcinogenic, so, and that's where we start talking about that. I don't want to sit here and get
I
into
know.
a meat
It's
conversation
it's a
because we
very.
don't need to do that. I'm not vegan or anything, but
Somebody in
um
the chat said that you need to do a part two of your trim.
of the harvest and trim,
Hmm.
so you don't have to
He
listen to
doesn't
me
realize that that's really
ramble
hard to
on.
fucking. It's hard to sit here and smoke and have a conversation and follow chat. It's super hard to sit and like really go in and trimming while doing this too.
See, I actually jumped on Eagle show late last night and hung out with him.
Were you
The only
trimming still?
thing I was trimming, yeah, man. I was going till about 5 in the morning last night, and then we had to pick it back up today and finish it off. Still not done. I knocked down the tops of the plants, kind of give the bottom like
Yeah.
2 feet, which isn't a lot. I mean, some popcorns and stuff, but there's some golf ball size, they're actually little tops sticking around in
Yeah.
there. It's not all just side buds, so I'm gonna give it some light and let it finish off in density, color. Maybe let the trichomes ripen up. I mean, I look at a lot of those flowers and I consider them green tomatoes, man. I want those. I don't want to put my green tomatoes in a paper bag to ripen them. I want them ripe on the
No.
vine before I get
Yeah,
them off.
man. I know. I took the Keweenaw copper down and the skunk, but I still have two abolished. Um, I have the sour melon, the blueberry quintessa, and the headlights are still in there. And it's kind of been a blessing because I've been so busy working outside all weekend that by the time I get done and take a shower, I'm like, no, I'm good, man. I'm not, I don't feel like taking down another plant or anything else. So those plants have had a couple more days to kind of sit there and get their stuff together. See, I see Miss C is talking about the ABOG. Man, I tell you, I got to take a picture of that for you guys because the the bud size on it is just ridiculous, man. It's so fucking big. Like the center one, it's ugly as shit, but it's like super big. And it's like fills out a little more each day, so that's why it's still hanging around. I probably could have cut it by now, but you know, I can only dry so much at one time. I know that
Right.
sounds like a first world problem or anything, but with the way that the weather has been,
Oh,
um,
dude,
the
good
humidity has
good
been
luck trying
fucking
anything
terrible.
without a
Ah, man,
dehumidifier right
I
now.
know, dude. Well,
My weed,
I
my
kicked the
weed
by
that
kicking
was
the
crispy.
AC on though. I'm getting the dehumidification now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah.
my
Turn your
copper
AC on
pipes
and
were
you're
sweating.
okay. Yep, you're
Yeah.
right. Yep, yep, yep. In a natural environment, you're
Mhm.
so before we just kicked the air. Actually, we talked earlier. My condensate lines plugged up, or the condensate pumps failed, or something's going on. I got water. There's always something, right? So prior to that, prior to kicking on the air conditioner, all of the weed that I had harvested a few weeks ago that was otherwise starting to get on the drier side, and I had to actually rehydrate once already, is now to the point where it was getting back to crispy again. And I was like, oh, should I
Yeah, but
rehydrate this? And then the
don't.
next day it was like, nope, I left some weed out on the table, dude. And I went to go like break it up and I can't even cut through it with scissors. It's like back to being wet weed. Oh
Ah,
my God, man. Turn the
hey,
air on. Let's get the
get
humidity down. Dude, you ever
exactly.
go to a festival or something for like 2 or 3 days and stash in jar or not, dude, the stuff will just turn to you open it 4 or 5 times and it's just
Well,
enough to get the
think it.
humidity
Yeah,
changed over.
you're putting that. What would happen if I took some Bovita packs with me though? Now, I'm not trying to do a cheap plug here, but I
There
thought
you
this
go.
was kind of cool.
Yeah.
We were talking about the CBG that I had, right? Dude, check it. So when I bought this, I bought the O, and it came with the Bovita 62 in it.
I almost wonder if you're better off doing a silica bag because you don't have to worry about rehumidifying. You just really want to worry about dehumidifying and
Well, these are
taking
great
everything
because
out.
if you put it in wet, it'll drop it down and bring it into the 62. And if you put it in dry, it'll balance it back out and
Yeah, I
rehydrate it
like
back
that
to
it balanced.
62.
I used to over dry and then rehydrate with those.
You can't though. When you like one thing, this could be some old bro science, so I could be corrected. I'm using old like 2012 information. Once you dry your cannabis to the point, I think if I remember right, I could get it's either
It's
55 or
like it's like
57%.
9%. No,
No,
it's like
55 to
9.
57% relative humidity. Once it goes beyond that, like if you jar it up, it's never going to get that nose back that it would have had you not over dried it in the first place.
If you get down to like below 9% internal moisture weight, you're gonna mess up your weights. You can over dry to a point, but if it gets too dry, your buds are gonna get all like it's almost like they go like this. You gotta look Scobo to see it.
Mm.
Your buds do that rather than just
Oh yeah,
drying like a normal raisin. They almost like look like they've been inhaled like that, and you like they look all weird. And then you go to rehydrate it. Normally, it would fluff back out like a sponge. Rather, this weird effect just kind of
right.
stays there, like this puckered raisin look. You know what I mean? That's the only way that I can like think of
It
this is
gets
that it's
ugly.
like reversed. You know what I mean? I like it's in a vacuum or something.
Oh, dude, have you ever done
I'm
that?
trying to describe
You
this.
ever use one of those?
What, a vacuum?
The what are they called?
Shop
Is it
vacuum? A vacuum oven? I don't know where you're going with this, but I'm sorry. Vacuum packaging. Are we talking about packaging and saving our weed? Okay.
I'm fucking dying over here. Oh,
No,
lungs.
I've never used one. Just because a good one's like a couple $100, but I'd like to have one on deck. Yeah, why
I
not?
have before, and of course, my first victim, I took the oldest, shittiest stuff that I had because I knew that chances were that I was gonna fuck this up the first time. So you can like definitely over vacuum these fucking things shut. You don't need to like suck it to the point where it looks like 80s brick coffee. Anybody knows what that is in the chat, definitely let me know.
Is it
But,
like brick cocoa? Do you have to moisten it to like turn it into a powder before you can?
well, no, you've sucked all the air out of it, so you've just absolutely compacted like the Star Wars trash
Oh yeah, I know you're
compactor
talking about those
thing.
old little Folgers packs, dude.
Yeah, man,
Little Folgers packs. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. That happens to the bud, dude. It's
fucking
like
horrible.
it's like in a vacuum. It's like
Destroys it.
that. Yep, yep.
And then when you take it out of the vacuum, it looks like shit because it's ripped all the stuff off of it. You know what I mean? You're like, damn,
Yep.
that's good
So
keef, but you know.
say it's not winter anymore, but I guess since we're talking about it and it's part of I'm drying right now, so I don't have to. Hopefully we don't get like a freeze. We could get a
No, we're
freeze, I
straight, bro.
suppose.
No,
But
it's gonna
if
go down
if
to
we
the
don't get a
70s next
freeze,
couple
I'm good.
days.
Let's say it was 20 degrees out and the humidity was nothing, and I don't have a humidifier in my dry room yet.
Nope.
I'm gonna put one in there, but I don't have one in there yet. So I have a dehu. The first day or two while the plants are in there, that thing's running. Once they get dry enough and the humidity's 50%, now it's 45%, now it's 40%, and I'm walking in there and I'm going, it's getting a little low than I like. outside the room it's 20%, so we know where the potential can go. Now I'm like, what do I do with it without putting moisture in the air? Well, at that point I put it in a tote, even though the stems still have a wiggle and they're not crispy, or the leaves are kind of crispy, but once that homogenizes, man, it goes back to
Well, Shredder in the chat is saying that you can still use the jars. Yes, I definitely, that's what I ended up doing. Is I use the, let me just grab one real quick. Where is it? Okay, so this size jar. So on this,
what's up? You got the
that's
big
the large
bag
one
in there.
Yeah, I do. That usually goes in. Okay, here's a cheap solution for you.
I think I used to put the big bag in those jars.
I used to use it for my 3-gallon bucket. You ever have a plant like the Abolished will dump a lot of finishable, harvestable bud on you at the end. And I didn't have a bunch of jars at the time, and I needed somewhere to basically store it. I know. It definitely isn't good to keep your bud in plastic. I know. But having said that, what I did at the time was I bought one of those spin lids. You know how you snap it on the bucket and then you can spin the lid on and off? People use them for like dog food and stuff like that. If you go to Menards, you can pick those up for like $7 or $8. Yeah. So if you do use like a bucket system or anything like that, instead of having to actually seal those things and then being like, it's always like being stuck in the walk-in, having to be the guy that opens the pickle bucket for the first time. You cuss everybody else out. You're like, oh, you motherfuckers. See, that's why we had no pickles on the line. It's not because nobody knew to go get them. It's because they were like, no, fuck that shit. I don't want to open that thing.
There's this zip. It's like a ratcheting style lid, and it actually like I think it puts your bucket under vacuum.
I've seen those where it's got the little pump button in them.
Yeah, they're horticultural grade, food grade, horticultural grade. They're like 5 and maybe 3, 5 and 7 gallon, maybe even bigger than 7.
Dude, those are fucking huge.
No, they're huge. Yeah, man. I was watching maybe Canna Cribs or something, and there was this one company that was using them. And then I went to a local hydro shop in Ann Arbor to where I was like getting I was getting Canna. It was like one of the few shops that like sold Canna in the area. So I was getting Canna from this shop, and they just so happened to have these buckets, right? And I was going to get a bunch of them. I was going to get a bunch of them. I was going to get like two or three of them.
What I could afford at the time, right?
They were not. Well, I was only running, so many strains, but I was like, in process, I was like starting to build my facility that I'm at now. So I'm like, gears spinning. What am I going to
Why am I going to buy it twice? I'm just going to buy what I'm going to eventually need.
Right. Exactly.
It's the way to run a business.
And they were like $30 a bucket or something, like some number like that. And I was like, not now. I'll do it eventually. And you know what? I still think that, that's like phase down the line when I'm
it's
ready
a solution
for like
that you're still looking at.
It's a good one, man. Yeah. It is. And off the top of my head, I can't remember. I haven't looked that up in years, to be honest with you, just because I'm still not there yet to need something like that. But
we all gotta have goals,
right? Having to store, if I have to store 5 pounds, that's what I think I would store it in, to be honest with you.
What's the tote to use? Is it the black with the yellow lids that I see a lot of people use?
I don't use those anymore. I don't use those anymore. I use the Huskies because they have the lid that actually the clamps that actually close, and they hold it shut. Yep. Those the yellow top lids were just going a little dry. That's everybody's favorite cloner. I still like black buckets with the black lid. And there's two types of lids
tall boy.
I found. There's like a real hard rigid plastic lid, and there's the lid that you're talking about, secondary to the lids that I'm talking about. But the lid you're talking about is probably the best. But if you just want to spend $2 on a lid, like, I don't know, man, it's not the hard rigid they look identical, but
the difference is one has a gasket and one doesn't. One seals and the other one just kind of closes
on the inside of one of them, but one seals better. Yes.
Yeah, it's the one that's on the pickle bucket. It's the black.
No, it's not that one. It doesn't have the tabs on the sides, and it just actually, I don't think they have gaskets in them either. They're just a flimsier plastic. It's just a flimsier plastic. But the one you're talking about is cool too, but it's still like a $4 lid. He's not listening to me anyway. Lids are lids. There's all kinds of lids. I still prefer glass ball jars, but that's
Exhibit usually
post processing. Yeah, no, that's
Exhibit B. This is the one you're talking about.
So that's the one I'm talking about. So there's two types of that one that's in your hand right there. There's probably 1,000 types depending on what box store you get them from, to be honest with you.
Which one? Was it the thin one?
The thin one. So that one specifically that I'm talking about, the cheapest, dirt cheap one.
It's $2 at Menards.
I would rather use the other ones that you're messing with, but you need like a freaking a mallet to pound those things shut for the first couple times.
Oh, they're easy to close. They're just, you're gonna cuss yourself out.
Dude, you can get one of those kitchen tools. I mean, you can get the tool for those buckets.
Listen, just spend $8. Don't be a cheap fuck.
So anyway,
you're already spending max money on those lids, man.
If you're doing the cheap fuck and you're using those tiny, I'm just gonna.
I'm having so much fun just lids, vibing man. With you tonight, bro. This is just the easy one.
If you go with one of those cheap lids, just know that the nice flimsy rubbery kind of lid will seal better than the hard plastic rough lid. They're the same lid. I don't even know I think one came from Lowe's, the other came from Home Depot. So that's why I was like, if Lowe's is out of buckets and lids, I'm not just gonna go to Home Depot to get my buckets and lids. You know what I mean? It's like I've tried I've tried this box store's stuff, I've tried that box store's stuff, and it's like, ooh, personally, I prefer this store. And
it's like the difference between using a ball jar versus like an old pickle jar that you bleached and cleaned and reslaved or whatever, you know what I mean? An old peanut butter jar. I'm
still weird about that too, man. I still prefer to get like the ball lids opposed to like there's
you can get the plastic spin on ones.
You can get in I like
the white plastic ones.
The button that vacuum seals them too.
Well, you can do that with the Food Saver. You just you buy the little attachment for it and you put it over top of the thing.
No, I'm saying they have those for the ball jars.
Just a little attachment that goes on top of it?
Vacuum seal lid for a ball jar.
No. It vacuum seals the regular lids, or it is a vacuum seal lid that I would have to buy multiple of these motherfuckers of?
Yeah, I don't think you could use it and then take it off. You'd have
see, that's where they get us, folks.
Yeah,
they got us.
You'd have to have one for each of your jars.
Well, they don't think you're using cannabis. They think that you're doing stewed tomatoes or Aunt Martha's, milky beans or whatever.
Use it for your stew. Use it for your noodles and for your coffee, man. And it would probably keep everything a lot fresher, a lot less waste.
Dude, you can spend so much money on containers, and just think of this for a second. Let's just go down this road.
Oh, dude,
how much money have you spent in cannabis accessories? Like, think of the gamut of what a cannabis accessory is, and then realize like how much money you've actually invested in this shit.
I'm staring at a bunch of bongs, so there's that.
That's where we start.
It's all glass. There's even a hookah that's probably made for tobacco that I'm gonna
repurpose.
I'm gonna repurpose anyways. Hash. Hookahs are great for hash, man.
Dude, you know what I want to do? Brad, this is what I want. The next time that we have a get together, I really think that we should break in that new hookah, because if we can say that we had a hookah, Red Setter Farm hookah sesh, that could be a thing, man.
And there's 2 hoses on it, so you don't have to like directly pass it off. I mean, they're easily 3 feet apart. It's a social, easily social distancing bong.
I like the sounds of that.
5-tube hookah. See, that's how we see if Chad likes it. That's how we come out. That's how we what is it? I
don't know, bro.
Dude, I'm just having
smoke up, Johnny.
Brain farts. Stupid single word brain farts over here at the Rainbow Drive. Dude, it's just been a crazy long day. I was up till I think 5 in the morning, harvesting, running it with Eagle, and got up not too early today, but went at it harvesting and mowed some grass. That was fun.
How much you mowing?
Furnaces overflowing. Mowing about 2 acres. Rider. Dude, it was taller than the rider. The grass was tall. The grass was 2 feet tall, dude. It took forever, man. Went through like 2 tanks of gas. It was crazy.
What kind of rider you got?
Little like
people want to know.
Troy built.
Okay.
It's a Toro, I think. It's a
Is
Toro.
it red?
No, the red one's my little pusher.
Are you not going to have a red tractor? We get is it blue Setter Farms now? Is that what we're rolling?
No, man.
Yellow seller?
Oh, man. Scobo. Burnout. And burnout, dude. I had this little like go-kart.
They hit us with the
Dude,
baby come back.
no, man. I had this awesome go-kart tractor, dude. Craftsman, late 80s model. The sucker hauled ass. The thing was tiny. It was tiny. It looked like a little go-kart, and it would cut 2-foot tall grass. This thing was badass. I didn't check the oil one day, fried out the motor.
They don't make them like that anymore, Red.
No, they don't, dude. And I got this Toro or whatever, but whatever. But yeah, man. Compromise is the word that I was looking for that just popped in my head. So
Apropos
we're gonna
of what, bro?
compromise.
Okay, there we go.
I'm talking about the hookah, man, and how we're gonna
Okay.
compromise at the end of how we're gonna compromise the social distancing and smoking thing. Is the word
I like
I was
that.
trying to spit
That
out of
works.
my mouth. There we go.
I wonder,
See what
can you
happens.
mod a hookah? Can you add more ports to it, or should you just buy a bigger one?
You could totally mod it if you had maybe
could buy
some
the
machining
pieces.
skills and did some threading and things like that. Otherwise, you could probably just buy a new body. I think the glass honestly is probably the expensive part. I imagine I imagine the bodies are pretty universal. You could probably and then maybe
What's
the
your
bowl.
favorite?
Maybe if you got like a nice ceramic bowl or
What's your favorite hash to smoke? Like out of a hookah? Does it matter?
out of a hookah is usually bubble. I've tried dry sift, doesn't stay lit as much. I guess I probably just really need to pack it in there like I could a bowl, but I don't dedicate that much of my stash to a hookah bowl. The bowl's huge,
Oh.
So I mean, and dude, smoking hash, it'll smoke forever.
So do you light it with a coal?
Do I light it with the coal? No, you don't really need to. I just light it, but I will put the tinfoil over top that way and just put a few holes in it, kind of keep the smoke inside so it doesn't just, crazy smoke all over the place like a hash on a pin. I'll put the tinfoil on. Hey, I could use the charcoal, but I don't want to crush my hash with the charcoal,
We will not sully these things.
Volcano it.
Oof. Dude, have you ever vaped hash? I have like that Silver Surfer, dude. It gives it like there's always the vape taste to it.
I'm thinking of volcano vape, but I've like e-nailed it or not e-nailed it. I've like torch nail. What is this thing? What's this thing called? A dome and nail, old school.
Yeah.
Behind it. I've attempted to smoke some on this before.
No bueno.
No, it works fine. Yeah, you can't get like a huge hit. It just kind of like, just kind of turns into ash, and you get a good like half.
You know what? We shouldn't just talk about hash. You and I should be smoking some instead of just talking.
I agree with that.
Chill.
Chill.
Let me look around.
To clean out the hash first off.
I gotta look at my situation here.
Dank Agenda, shout out. He says hash totally clogs up vapes if you do it a lot. I could see that. There's dirt, probably a lot of contaminant in most hash. My hash is a ton of contaminant.
Red, it's the travel pack. You ready? That's how we get down.
I love it, dude. I love it. You're missing a pack of papers over there.
Nah, you could slide it totally behind here, and you can also take and put your stuff in here because there's like two little pockets on it.
Enough room for your CBD dabs.
Oh, you could totally get down with it.
Yeah, you could stick a couple in
like,
there. Dude, that's
awesome.
Man.
This is my favorite fucking chillum anyway. Besides the other one I have a really cool ass one that I don't know if it would show up on video or not. I've had it forever, but the ball, the little marble on it has Towley from South Park in it. If you look really, 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 really super closely, it's like a perfect. It's not like an artist drawn one. It's like they took a little picture of it and put it in there. It's pretty dope.
What a clutch character, man! All the way back from he had to came out of like the late '90s, right? I mean, was he back that far? Was he that old in the show? Yeah, at least the late '90s. So, yeah, shout out to those dudes for. Scobo, were you into like the pothead movies, like Half Baked or any of those ones?
Oh yeah, I think it's a rite of passage.
There was a time where there was not many of them. I had to like
basically had Cheech and Chong when I was a kid.
Yeah, I had to like source up and smoke.
Uh-oh, I see a little red setter jar. What am I smoking? Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun,
Yeah, I don't even
dun.
know what's in mine, but
Oh,
I don't want to. I don't want to. It's like a full Chillima hash, and I don't want to waste it.
no. Look what I have.
So, and I would normally if it was
Oh, wait a
ash or
minute. Let
something.
me,
Oh, that looks like some Glee. Looks.
come on, baby. Do your thing.
There you go. Yeah, that's better. Looking like Glee.
Yeah, man. It's very nice. Bam.
There's a lot to be said to changing your light bulbs, Scobo. The round that I just pulled down, I just posted a photo of it today on Instagram, and wow, huge difference between
Yield or just the quality
well,
itself?
all of it. I would say the buds got a little bit bigger, they got a little
Yeah.
denser. The overall color faded much
Yeah.
further purple.
Well, I
The
think as your
leaves
light
this
burns
time
out,
actually,
doesn't it start losing and start going in a certain
yeah,
direction?
oh yeah, it starts. I couldn't tell you which direction the spectrum fades, but it fades off from what the plant likes, that's for sure. The whole crop was just a lot better. Like this was the last round that I ran sour, the lemon sour diesel or whatever pheno, the sour diesel that I've ran for so long, and it's the biggest buds off that plant that I've ever grown. I mean, naturally, it's like once you kick something, but it's so leafy. I'm still not going to keep it around. I don't want to keep it around. Doesn't
Okay.
matter. It's so leafy.
So before we smoke up here, I know that we have, what do we have? We have 75 people chilling with us right now.
Cheers,
And I'm gonna
75.
go back. I'm gonna go back and do some shout outs and some welcomes. And I hope that everybody is enjoying the show and doing so with something to smoke right along with us.
Yeah,
So I
do
want
that
to
because
shout
I'm
out.
changing my mind on this old hash and I'm gonna put something fresh in there.
Okay. So I'm gonna do a shout out to Robert Hazelton, Dank Agenda, Alders 25, Doc Dankenstein, cheers, Narwhal up. Oh shit, it's turning into a Great Lakes grow off. We got Michael, Antone, welcome. Dro Grows, there's another one. Dirty Qwerty, how you doing? And let's see. Andy Man, how you doing tonight? UK Sif 420, TW. And we got a bunch of folks. I love that you guys keep coming back for this and turn the chat into its own show, because if you don't like what Red and I are talking about, y'all can at least keep it entertaining for yourselves until we come back from wherever the hell we went with the show. Miss D's Nugs, how you doing tonight? Charlie's Farm 420. I'm
Hey,
not
cheers, Daddy Red. Shout out. He
Daddy
says
Red.
entertaining. He likes what he hears.
Okay. Cheers, Daddy Red. There we go. If I didn't catch you, it's because I went too far up. Shredder, I think I hit you. BG 420 Farms, cheers. And High and Tight 420, you said you'd be here, and there you are. What's going on tonight? Garden is looking great. Nicole Carter, how you doing? Reels 100 212, how you doing tonight? Angel Kiss, Bag Seed, Tara Wilson. Okay, love it.
Did you get Lou Scott
Scroggy,
jumped in there?
I'm going up, 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 up. Let's see who
Reds
else we got.
Garcia, shout out.
There you go. Red's going the other way with it. If we missed you, we want you to join this Turp Farmer. Dankman 420. Yeah, I think I'm close to where I was. Okay, enough of this chit chatting and shouting out. Let's get down to the smoking down, Red. Cheers.
Cheers, Scobo. Cheers, chat. I'm failing right now, Scobo. I'm breaking up my hash into little tiny pieces, trying to put it in my pipe. Scobo, I went with dementia.
Oh, dude, that was the other jar. That was the other jar.
Is that the other choice?
Red,
You.
I just want to say,
how'd you like that? Is it still stimulating to you? Let me ask you that.
It's effervescent in the front. You know what I'm saying? Do you still get that with it?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And you also get it on like the outside of your forearms too. It's kind of cool. I just wish it wasn't a fucking wind tunnel in here right now, and I had a proper lighter instead of my candle lighter.
It's not lighting for you?
I just have to get way over with it, man. Unprepared fail.
Yeah, Scobo. I remember back when head shops around me were limited. Vapes and hot coils and all whatever type of vaporizer.
Don't get me started on
that
coils,
stuff was,
bro.
well, the stuff wasn't available. It just wasn't available. I mean, the only like marketable vaporizer that's really going around was like the Volcano, I think, and you know how pricey those were. Otherwise, I mean, maybe there was some old school type of things like they had back in one of those Cheech and Chong movies. Remember that like vaporizer that the cop used, the dude that turned into a lizard? Remember he had that weird tie stick vaporizer? Maybe there was some stuff like that floating around, but I never could source any of that stuff. There were simple like water bubblers, glass pipes, and for me it was the copper 3-piece pipe. You screw together, pop in a brass screen, and that's what I jammed with.
I can remember being like, I think I was probably 16 was the first time I ever had a pipe, and I bought an 1/8 from this chick I knew. It's always, that's how the story starts, right? So I bought this stuff, and her dad was a grower, but was like super quiet about it. So like I never met dude. It wasn't cool to talk about dude. It was just like, here, check this out. So she doesn't live like close to me. And I was like, fuck, man, I don't have anything. So she threw me this little teeny pipe that was probably, I'm looking at it right now in my hands as if I held it. It's probably 2 inches long. And it's the super old school one when the middle piece used to be wooden. Does anybody remember that? There was like a contoured, almost like a spindle thing in the middle. It goes down, not like a out in. And it even had the little, you knew it was cool when you had the screw top that went to it, because then you could travel with it. You could pack that shit, okay, and then you'd screw the lid on, and then you'd slide that down into the Levi's. It used to have the pocket watch pocket, and that little son of a bitch would just ride right there, man. It was super nice. Lost it at a fucking concert, as these stories usually end, or broke that shit, or whatever. You couldn't break those things. Those were fucking indestructible. I found a better lighter.
I spent many years like stressing about how to get a couple of joints into a concert. I was a cigarette smoker, so I always just stuck joints in my cigarette box. Quit smoking cigarettes 3 years ago, and I don't have anything where to put my joints. I don't like putting them in my pockets or anything because you crush them, break them. So anyways, I have this like little, like, I don't know, it's like a little credit card holder. I think I got it from a sporting goods store, but it's made for like canoeing and stuff, and it's thin. It's like maybe as big as that. It's like half the size of this. It's like shorter than this and a little bit more narrow. It's about a little bit bigger than a credit card, and it seals too. It has a little gasket that goes around and it clips, and you can kind of like wear it on a lanyard under your shirt if you wanted to. Holds 5-6 joints perfectly, no problem. And
that's great for a concert.
Oh, it's great because it's watertight. You're not going to get it, nasty with sweat or anything like that. And B,
so where'd you stash it at?
Rains or whatever.
You weren't keystering that shit.
You're supposed to hold your hand.
Yeah.
You got your keys and your phone because you're going through metal detectors and shit like that, right? So I put it right in my hand behind my phone right there, and I walk right through the metal detector with my joints right in my hand. Now, I mean, they got those things they got phone cases, with storages and stuff.
Yeah. But now back in the
I've done that. I got into Wrigley. I've gotten into, many concerts and places. Just kind of, the most obvious place is probably the best place.
Red Setter Farm has burned down at Wrigley Field. You heard it here first.
Dancing with the Dead.
Damn, that was probably a cool show.
We did a
you smoked that already?
Two nights, dude. No. It's not staying lit. It's not staying lit on me.
Then you just let it burn for a second. Don't hit it. Just
they
light
did
it
a
down.
Double header, dude.
That's what I was doing with it. I wasn't hitting it. I'd lit it and just let it burn for a second until she bubbled up. Because once she goes, you're in. There's going on.
That's what I usually do.
Yeah.
I didn't put enough in there, so it's got this concave thing going.
Dude.
So you know what I'm gonna do?
Add more?
I'm gonna make a pile.
A pile.
A pile.
Oh, man. What do we got going on out here? Anybody?
I'm gonna agree with Dirty Qwerty and say we should make that vape gun. I think that it's. I always loved that. I always like looked for it. I was like, what the fuck is this? What is this crazy like invention that they had back in the late 70s, early 80s? This cool little tie stick vaporizer.
Andy Man said crotch him. I knew that was going to be in the chat too. Yeah. I'm stoned. That's one good thing about like going downtown with the chillum here. Just put a little nice nest of cannabis. And then I always just use my thumb, and I always pack my shit in there really, really well, because the last thing I want to do is to combust all the cannabis and then have like all my hash left that's not fucking burned with it. The trick I always thought was, especially with like,
I didn't put like a weed screen in there. Maybe I should
I never use a screen. Oh, like a weed screen you're talking about?
A screen of weed.
Yeah, just put it in there and pack it in tight.
I should have done that, because then it probably would have give it something to ignite.
Yeah, like I'll pack.
Make a pile.
It's like a lasagna, right? So I load a little bit of cannabis. Well, hell, I'm just going to do it again. Why not?
Might as well just do it.
Just fucking examples, dude. Nobody's trying to hear that shit. All right, so I'm reloading. You're reloading. Chat, I hope you guys are still hanging out there with us. At this point, we're just chilling. If you guys have any questions for us or anything like that, that we could try to answer. I'm not saying we will, but we might be able to. That's the only thing about this is you always have that little bit. There's never is. Oh, I may have to change riders, Red.
A cool story that I heard through the the Deadhead circle was they used to take old Volkswagen buses, and actually in the Deadhead circle there may or may not be old wagons that had been used for this, and they would ship them from Germany. You know, they'd go to Afghanistan and they'd go to Pakistan and places and get hash, and they'd take it to Germany, and then they'd ship the Volkswagen microbuses loaded with hash in the bumpers back to California, basically.
Damn.
And then bada boom, bada bing, here comes the hash.
Okay, so I just put in the first little layer, and I just packed it in. There goes the light again. Come on, camera, figure it out. Okay, so I just packed this in. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like it's got a big hole.
It's got a little hole.
And then, but on this side, it's got a really super small hole. Super small. So when I have hash, the one thing I don't want to do is to hit it too hard and then cough like an idiot on camera too much. I already do that enough, but I don't want to really get carried away with it.
Can I point out the shape on that mouthpiece? Is that to prevent like weed boogers from hitting you?
Yes, because you can see in the pipe that they'll get in there, but if you look at the side,
it's got like,
see how it goes. It's like a bullet hit it, you know what I mean? So it's concave in. Yep. Almost, it looks like a bowl on this side. How's that sound? It's got a real small hole.
Yeah, it looks like a little bowl.
Looks like a little bowl. Bam.
A novice would be very confused looking at that thing.
There's only 3 holes. How the fuck do you get confused?
There's 2 bowls. There's 2 bowls.
No, which one do I load? I'm gonna hit it like a fucking. It's a periscope. I'm gonna fucking hit it the other way. You're gonna use the finger pole down here, and you're gonna use this side to fucking hit this thing. We call it the periscope.
If I was a diver, I'd use my snorkel if I ran out of a pipe.
There we go. This time, ooh, Wow, that's nice. This is some in-house.
I'm already messing up, Scuba. I'm trying to light it like a bowl instead of just catching it on fire like we were
Dude,
just
I wish I didn't
doing.
shake like a fucking dog, man. It's so hard to get these little fine motor skills to work anymore.
I
Fail.
mine's not a like nerve issue. Mine's just a nervousness issue, I guess you would, which is restless limb syndrome, you know,
You have
whether it's my
RLS?
feet, whether it's my feet, legs, arms, fingers, head. Sometimes it's just tapping, or sometimes it's even my teeth, tongue. Something's always moving. There we go. How about this? Let's just chill them like a candle, right? Chill them
Right.
like a candle.
Yep. That's what I do. And then I wait till I see some bubbles. And once I see some bubbles, I know that when those get blown out, there will be a little bit of smoke. And if I hit the pipe really lightly, I should be able to bring that into a full ember.
Yeah, there's a real cool lake of smoke appearing down here. This thing's actually burning for quite some time.
It's hash. It's going to, yeah.
It's going to, I know.
Okay, are you getting any bubbles yet?
Yeah.
Just give it a puff like this. Just be like, puff. No, don't hit the fire, Red. Blow it out first. It's not. There you go.
It's totally clogged now. I fucked it up, Scobo.
It's all good, man.
I turned it into liquid hash and it clogged the hole.
Clogged the hole. Change riders, bro. That's what you got to do. You got to change riders.
Which is good.
Where's the yellow pipe? Mrs. Red's pipe. Or you fuck that up too.
Sourcing alcohol right now without going to like a science, what are they called? Chemical supply shop or a laboratory supply shop or something like that. I just can't get alcohol right now, dude. We got one little, I think, 8-ounce container of 70 proof, I think, the other day.
Andy Man's talking about a soapstone. And you know what we used to use? Has anybody ever seen Grolsch beer? Like when you buy it in the bottle, they have the weird ass white ceramic top. Yeah. You have to. Okay. So back in the way back, this is like the 80s when we used to do this, maybe the early 90s. I can remember doing it still. Is you would remove that, the metal pieces from that. And then you have it used to be ceramic all the way through. So all you did was just put your joint in one side and then you would hit it through the stone. You know what I mean? So.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing is I checked into that just to see if I could be nostalgic and even show somebody, and they're not that way anymore. They're not ceramic, so won't work. Cheers.
Costco. Okay.
Dude, watch how easy this thing fucking hits.
I'm guessing that's for the alcohol.
Super smooth. Super slow.
That's cool. The the clear glass and
that's one of the coolest things about the fucking
really cool to watch.
Yeah, man, the steam rollers.
Yeah, that's fun. Yeah, so there's like, okay, you can't see it, but your friends can, right? The glass bong, right? It's not really for your enjoyment. It's for your friends' enjoyment.
Especially if you fucking take more than you can drink. For sure.
Definitely.
Red, I know you as a man of the world have been to a party before where someone has taken too big of a rip as a novice and then coughed into the bong and then made it basically pull the fucking the sperm whale. The sperm whale.
I've done that. I have done that before.
Oh, Red.
Oh, I've done that before.
Tell the tale of shame.
I've never done it at a party. I've done it like solo, sitting in my living room.
See, this is still lit, Red. Look, she's just smoking just away.
Oh, don't worry.
Like I Dream of Jeannie there.
My melted through chillum is now finally cleaned out and has been transferred over to another apparatus. So I'm getting there, I think, Scobo. Problem is, once I start smoking this dementia, my mind goes, ooh.
Just like your head right now is disappearing with the green screen. When you lean backwards, it takes the top of your head off. Oh, it's not doing it now. There it goes. She gone.
Just fall, just disappear into the plants. That's what I want to do most days.
Tell us about the picture behind you.
Let's see here. I believe this is what I just harvested yesterday, a rainbow driver.
How much of a keeper is that plant?
It's a keeper right now. I wish it's hard to describe the consistency of the flower because it's not larvae, but it's leafy, but it's not leafy. It's strange to trim.
It has a lot of leaves, but there's no density to it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of density, but it also still weighs like it has density. It's weird. Like it's not leafy, but the bracts like aren't swollen or anything. It's kind of strange. Well, all right, Scobo.
Level with us, Red.
All right, Scobo. We got to get back to the new lights again. All right, that round that I'm currently smoking on, that we're discussing, was grown under third, fourth round bulbs. So we'll see how this round trims up that's currently drying. My opinion might completely change. This conversation might completely change. So might have just been a bulb issue, to be honest with you. Everything's looking really great.
I'll tell you what, I would tell you to make sure you use, when the next time you do the run, if that's the case, run them with old bulbs, because the rainbow driver that Abolish let me try that you pulled out of there, dude, I smoked that for like 45 minutes. It was so goddamn sticky. It took me like, Abolish is in the chat, I think it took me at least 3, maybe 4 minutes to roll it, because it was super, super sticky. And I wanted to make sure,
sticky.
you know, when you're around your friends, you don't want to roll some weak ass fucking joint. You want to make sure that you can show that you're still part of the cool kids lunch table, you know. So I really worked on her there, but that was a bitch, man. And
it's
stone.
Yeah, dude.
Stone.
Sticky stuff.
If you get rid of it, just make sure that it comes my way. I want to cut.
Oh yeah, no, it won't get kicked like some of the other stuff. It's gonna be the reason some of the other stuff like Abolish was real bummed because I got rid of that PB souffle. I'm a little bummed because I got rid of the PB souffle, but the reason I got rid of it was because I had these other ones on deck where I was like, I think these ones might be better than that. But
so did you shoot your load on the PB souffle? Do you have seeds left?
Oh yeah, dude.
Okay, because I have a half pack still. Yeah, I have the other half of it.
I only popped like 2 seeds. I only popped
because those are fem beans.
And I got purple punch leaning pheno, and then I got the peanut butter pheno. And the peanut butter pheno is fire, dude. Peanut butter pheno is like,
that's not what I had.
What'd you have?
The punch one.
Peanut butter. What I'm calling the peanut butter pheno is kind of peppery, kind of.
That's what I wanted, was the peppery, bro. That's
the peppery. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm all about that. I love the effects that the peppery strains give me.
Gotta have one in there.
Like, I'm to me, if I could do a mashup of strains, I would love to get the properties from the blue strains, which would be blueberry. I would love to get some kind of peppery thing in there. And I don't know, I wish I knew more about the specifics of where a lot of these flavors came from originally in cannabis. And I want to say that it is the like Hindu Kush that was like a peppery, spicy one back in the day. And I think that lended itself to a lot of things. So if I get the effects of that, it'd be sweet. Maybe the third one would be
caryophyllene.
I think so too. But I didn't want to say it and be wrong and like. Ugh.
Well, there's a couple because linalool
is the one that tastes like lilacs,
floral, and
lavender.
Yeah, and that's also got like a floral, like.
I fucking hate floral strains, dude. They just don't scratch the itch for me.
That's where a lot of like what I was getting when I ran a couple of other DJ Short stuff like Grape Crush.
Oh, dude, you say that, and I think about what I have
The
left.
F13. The F13 is real floral.
Look what I have.
What's that? Oh, roseberry.
I still got some roseberry there.
Sweet.
I was saving that for the next time that we got to have one of these. So I guess that's what I'll close us down with whenever we shut it down. We still have, I don't know, we probably still have at least 10 people in this motherfucking thing. We still got 64 people.
Yeah, it's a good one to wake you back up.
Yeah, man. Well, earlier when I was really, really tired from building shit all day, I came in the house and I made sure that I grabbed the sour melon, because the sour melon is like uppy, makes you feel good. So I mixed that with a little bit of the CBG, and my back wasn't as bad and stuff like that. So we can bring the talk right back to the pain again. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So however you choose to use and basically consume your cannabis is completely up to you. You can choose to eat it. You can choose to use it topically. You can smoke it. There's just like so many different ways that you can get it into your system. I think that these
Let's
days.
talk about that. Let's break that down real quick.
Okay.
Maybe just in case. So if you smoke it, you can smoke flower, or you can vaporize flower, you can vaporize a concentrate.
What is a concentrate, Red?
A concentrate's a concentrated form of cannabis. It can be a higher percentage of the dominant cannabinoids.
Because we're removing the things that aren't effective medicine.
You're removing a lot of the plant material, and you're getting more of the active compounds that you're searching for.
So that's hash. And what else is that?
Depending the type of hash is going to depend on the majority of the compounds that are in there. It's going to depend on the contaminants that are in there. It's going to depend on a lot of different things. So let's just say that it's flour. So we have all of the contaminants and everything. You hit it, you're going to feel almost an immediate effect within seconds. It's going to do it. It's going to do its thing. And the way the cannabis hits on pain relief for a primary, I would say like 8 out of 10 people you would probably
don't
ask,
go away,
is it makes you kind of forget about your pain. It kind of distracts you. It provides like a sense of relief to the fact that you don't realize you're in pain, and you can kind of go on. Other things become entertaining to yourself, which usually when you're in pain, you can't focus on almost anything else. If you take an edible, now let's go to the concentrate. Take concentrate, you're going to have a effect within the same amount of time frequency, but it's going to be much more elevated. It's going to be more like, let's say you took 3 hits of the flower, taking 1 hit of the concentrate is probably going to equate roughly to that if your percentages are.
Yeah, but they just hit differently too, though. Now, I found that it's really just a matter of taste.
And that's where they're hitting different. That's where I think that it has to do with the processing also. Is it a hydrocarbon? Is it like, was it water hash? Was some water soluble cannabinoids that maybe aren't even discovered taken out, where this, that, and the other? That's one thing. I mean, like, we can talk about terpenes and oils and esters all day, but I mean, there just hasn't been enough research to
check
really
it out.
know where these subjective effects come from.
I get an idea, Red. Check this out. This is something anybody can do. You can buy hemp, okay? And if you buy hemp, I said hemp, you can see that this hemp has been tested because it's proven to have less than 0.03% THC or whatever the decimal number is on that. It's not going to get you high. But what it will have instead is the CBD or the CBG or whatever it is. So since I am a tincture maker, and I know that specifically helps me, why couldn't I make a small batch of tincture by buying that, going to the store, buying my alcohol? I don't need any fancy contraptions or anything. I can get that large mason jar that I showed earlier. You can put the bud in there. You put the alcohol in there with it. Just leave it there to soak. This is an old school cold tincture method. You can agitate it a little bit or not. You can do a quick wash. You can do a slow wash. It doesn't matter. It's all personal choice. It will give you different end results. But you could begin to use that. Let's say that you never wanted to smoke anything, and that was one of the big turnoffs for cannabis. But then they hear all these horror stories about people that are like getting wrecked out of their minds on the quote unquote stereotypical pot brownies from back in the propaganda days. So they don't want to go down that road either. So what if they could just use it topically and get relief? Whether they add it to a cream or a lotion or whatever they do, they could get it that way. So it's an option for you on how you want to try to find pain relief. We talked at the open of the show about how we have all known people that have dealt with some kind of opioid issue, and it is a very serious issue. Um, it's why I don't use medication like that. I turn instead to cannabis, and that's why I've met so many people. That's why I do this show, is because I'm always trying to learn. I don't come on here to talk about what I know. I come on here to ask questions about what other people know so that I can learn.
Well, you know, there's pain management, and then taking something for that pain management. You start to build a tolerance to whatever it is you're taking, even the weed, even cannabis, right? But let's say it's you're taking a prescription, or you're taking, it's a natural supplement of something that's supposed to help you. Okay, your pain is going to find a tolerance to that, and you're going to have to take more of the medicine, or a higher dosage of the medicine, or whatever, right? Eventually you're taking too much of a substance, and then that's what starts to degrade your body. It starts to
Well, it starts by giving you liver issues
yes, yeah,
because
degrade your
it
liver, and
increases your enzymes and all that good stuff.
uh whereas cannabis, you know, if you concentrated and eat cannabis, cannabis is only going to add, probably it's probably only going to benefit your digestive system. It's going to benefit your health. It's going to put your body into homeostasis. I mean, the current research is suggesting that by eating cannabis and by putting cannabinoids in your body, it puts your body back into a state of homeostasis. When your CB1 and CB2 receptors are deficient in cannabinoids, your body is more susceptible to things like disease and whatever else, memory loss, I don't know, what have you, aging. When we are deficient in cannabinoids, that's what happens. So what do? We supplement our CB1 and CB2 receptors with cannabis, and it puts our bodies back into homeostasis so we can heal.
Give it to me, man.
Literally, without cannabis, we have a hard time healing. So we have to use external medicines, like I don't know, prescriptions or whatever. Whereas we've been co-joined with I mean, cannabis has been the thing. Like, why cannabis? Why is it the ultimate? Well, in my personal opinion, cannabis works so well with humans and people because I think that cannabis as a single crop, not corn, not tomatoes, not anything else, I think that cannabis, hemp specifically, whatever, high CBD or whatever, was used for agriculture. I think it was used for feed. I think that our animals ate the shit out of it, and I think we ate the animals. I think we used it in our diets. I think we tilled it into our grounds. I think that the plants got the enzymes. I mean, who knows? However ways we've been propagating this thing, and I have a feeling that if you're against cannabis for whatever reason, you're not watching the show, but
I'm not getting through to you anyway.
Your great grandfather, somebody that he probably farmed cannabis or grew it on his property for some reason or another. If you think about it, even if you're handling it, using it for textiles and things, the oils of it are going to get into your skin. They're going to, like, we have and do this for generations, do this for millennia, farm this plant, I'm pretty sure they've found evidence of cannabis, in hash form, like in old temples from
Well,
thousands of years ago.
here's what I would say
So
is
we've
that
been
your body
farming the
has
plant.
an endocannabinoid system for some reason. Okay. And there's not too many things out there that have cannabinoids in them like that. Right?
I don't think there's anything else that has actual cannabinoids in them that,
Okay.
from my understanding, that fit the lock and key mechanism like cannabis, cannabinoids, and the CB1 and CB2 receptors. What's funny about the CB1 and CB2 receptors from the research that I've done is they are a natural system that is main, like a dietary or diet, not dietary, but dietary or some, it's like a main vascular system. It's a main system. Like you have your vascular system, you have your skeletal system, you have your muscular system, and then you have your basically next to in line of those is CB1, CB2 system, because what CB1 and CB2 actually does is regulates all of those other systems. And what they're finding is humans naturally are deficient in CB1 and CB2 receptors.
Which makes sense because where are you going to get it from?
But why are we deficient in the first place? Because we used to have it. Because it used to be in everything that we ate. We used to eat it. We used to co-evolve. We used
Or
to,
the animals ate it and you ate the animals. So you still got it.
against our will, it got pulled away from us and turned into, made everybody who thought of it a criminal. Almost 100 years ago, and in that time, we've completely restructured our DNA to now be deficient in these cannabinoids, where before we were probably healthy, and I would imagine it. A lot of it has to do with, yes, what we were talking about earlier with the diet and hormones and a lot of that stuff in foods. But I also think that the reason that we needed the hormones and the reason that we had to do the supplements and all of that stuff is to try to correct our deficiencies, which we shouldn't have had in the first place. We should be able to get enough vitamins and minerals out of our basic. I'm not even gonna. I don't do the 4 food group thing, man. I don't believe in that. I'm just gonna say minerals in our.
I like this rosaberry red.
You like that? That's
Yeah,
got all the minerals you need. Eat that sucker, dude.
What is
and
the numbers on this? Did you have this tested?
Yeah.
Okay, what was it?
8 THC, 11 CBD. 7 THC, 11 CBD.
It's nice.
I love it. I think it's great smoke. I have to smoke too much of it to like get an effect.
I think it's just you have to use it at the right time in the right place.
I like to smoke it sometimes in the morning with my coffee, but again, I like to blend it with flow sometimes to kind of
get wrecked.
Potency. I like the flavor of it. What I've noticed about some CBD stuff is it almost is a little more fibrous than like THC. It's got a little bit more of a
characteristics,
spice to it too. Yeah, like the eating like the leaves or the flower. It's incredibly hot and powerful.
Yeah, dude, that's not pleasant.
It's like sensory overloading. Yeah,
yes.
It's bitter. It's really
and it stays that way for like 3 or 4 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, not like I've had some real good sweet cannabis leaves. Rainbow Driver's delicious, dude. You might like to know that one. To be honest with you, that one might actually be a juicer. Might actually found a juicer. That's one of those things. I mean, when you pheno hunt, it's like, what do you look for? All kinds of stuff.
What are you looking for?
Use it for this year? What am I using it for this year? I don't know.
What are you replacing? Is what it comes down to. Is
am I hunting for a friend? Am I hunting for myself? Am I hunting for
patient? Sure. I don't know. I mean, I have 2 things on deck. I can't pop anything until I finish harvesting. So once I do that, I'm going to clear out my veg and I'm going to have room, and I want to pop the, I think it's called Blueberry Sunset, which was like a Blueberry Bubba Kush crossed with the, what is it, the Mandarin? Mandarin Cookies, Mandarin Sunset, I don't know, of Ethos. Um, and I also have the Keweenaw Copper crossed with Silver Squirrel. So
Nice,
I'm gonna go check both of those out.
nice, nice. Shout out Silver Squirrel. He
Super nice dude, man.
yeah, been giving some love on the Instagram, and I think he popped in my Instagram TV video the other day.
I don't know,
Walked in
Tara.
my garden.
Is Tara still up there? She might still be. I don't know. I seen her, and I gave her, what I had of it. It was like, here, because she just recently got a pack of those, and I think it's cool if somebody it gets a pack of something like that, and you already have the smoke. Give them some of it so they can try it before, not because it's going to be representative of exactly what's there, but it's kind of like, hey, when I popped mine, this is what I found, and it's cool.
I like spreading the love. I think that's great, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm trying to breed something. I want to bring some CBD. I don't want a 1-to-1, man. I don't want a 1-to-2. I want something that'll pull like 30% or like
Total.
yeah, maybe total. I want something that'll pull like mid-20s THC, 25%, where I'll get the medicinal effect of the THC. Excuse me. Maybe even 30%. 30 is cutting it, but I'm thinking just like 2 to 3% CBD, man. Just maybe 3 to 5% CBD. Nothing higher than 5. Maybe nothing higher than 3. Just enough to cut the edge that the THC usually hits me with. When things are just a little bit too high in THC, you get a little anxious. I personally get a little anxious. Whereas maybe if I had just a cut of the CBD in that flower, so I'm gonna try to find something in that range, nothing too crazy. Even if it's like a 0.5 would be cool, man. Anything more than
So what company would you try
available.
to source your seeds from then for that? Would you just go to a regular seed breeder and then just buy their CBD strain and then see what it is?
I'm gonna work with the stock that I started with. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if I was starting from fresh. I would probably
the one that I would think
CBD
could be
breeder or
interesting
something.
is the Grape Ape. If you can this year. Oh, I see they're talking about Delta 8 in the chat. Yeah, we were talking about that last night. If you can get a test on that Grape Ape, because that only has like 17, 18% THC total. So if you ran it with that, it's the Otto, you called it, OTTO, right? Was what pollinated that. So those CBD seeds, the basically the Grape Ape should have some CBD in some of those seeds.
I'm expecting there to be a little bit of everything in those seeds. I'm expecting there to be some tall pheno, some short.
So then you're going to have to like grow a bunch of little teeny bushes, pop like 10 seeds of them and run them, and then see how it expresses itself. But that's a big fucking thing to orchestrate, man. Now you got to buy a pack of 10
I guess
tests.
It could be as big or as small as you wanted. And for me, I'm just gonna kind of like I'm not trying to turn any kind of huge profit or anything with seeds.
No, you've just given them away to people.
I'm trying to breed with a couple of plants, and I mean, like, to be honest, man, I have a plant count, and I'm not trying to like go crazy with plants, so I'm just gonna pop a couple seeds. I'm not even gonna do a 10-pack. I'm gonna roll through a couple seeds. If I find a male, I'm using a summer
breeding projects.
Yeah, I'm summer outdoor breeding projects. Like, I'm not doing a bunch of indoor rooms and things where I'm gonna have all kinds of different cycles to select males and do pollen tests and structure tests.
So much work. That's why seeds cost a lot of money.
What I'm doing right now for selection is I want to select a new male. I already took the old mail, and so
Oh,
basically
did you see chat where Dirty Cordy is saying that Otto is the, what does it say?
Colorado
The
hemp.
Colorado hemp. Yeah, it's the hot CBD out there. Red
Yeah,
was ahead of the curve, man.
that's why I wanted that auto and the ACDC cut. So it's auto and ACDC is the green room, and
Green room.
the Hang 10 is actually auto and auto. It's auto times auto.
So is it going to
So
be the green grape ape?
well, no, green room's still sitting in its storage, but that maybe in the future, maybe I'll pop those. But dude, I have so many green room across the green room right now. I have a whole plant worth of seeds to hunt through
I know.
and give away. So those should, I mean, there shouldn't be any THC in any of that. That should be all CBD. But I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm gonna put a disclaimer on it and say,
Hey,
not for the
as
licensed hemp
is.
grower.
Yeah, just it's an as is
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, yeah, if you're a medical grower or a personal grower, you can try to grow them, but if you're a licensed hemp grower, I wouldn't try these seeds.
No,
But
hell no.
but I mean, there's a great chance that they're all less than 0.3% THC because that's what the original pack was supposed to be. We'll see how
But then
credible
again, it's
the
which
breeders
those
are.
how those seeds expressed. You know what I mean? How close to the to
They
genetics.
express. I mean, I didn't get them tested, but like the fibrous CBD, I mean, they definitely put out like CBD. The one
Did you
got like
smoke any
really
of it?
purple. I have some of it. I haven't smoked it yet.
And that shit's a year old almost. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, it's a good 6 months old. I haven't smoked it yet, but I mean it's not degraded any more than it was. It sat in the garage for a really long time. I wanted it to freeze. I wanted to give everything a good freezing round, and I haven't really bucked them out of the um, branches yet. So
I was wondering if you were going to make some CBD hash.
I want to. That is actually the plan is to use all of that material and do a food grade hash. Like I don't know how much I want to smoke all the concentrated material from outdoor because dust and I didn't wash it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So, anyways, I want to turn it into like Simpson oil and
Okay.
edibles and things like that, or butter or whatever. Mainly Simpson oil. I really want to just turn my outdoor into Simpson oil, all the CBD,
Man,
Fico, and I mean, really, that's grow them, grow those CBD, grow those hemp plants, grow those CBD plants, and then tincture it up, turn it into your topical rollerball. You know,
exactly.
so so the plan is to probably find a male, and then I want to dust the Grape Glee, the Rainbow Driver, the Flow.
Yeah.
I have those outside, and then more Grape Ape. I don't know if I'm gonna mess with more Grape Ape, but there's a volunteer out there right now that might end up being my male, because it has like 4 sets of leaves on it, and I think that this plant's like a month old. And a month ago, it was cold. We probably had some nights in the low 40s, maybe even in the 30s, and this plant has survived.
Holy
So,
shit. Really?
yeah,
30s?
this plant's at least a month old, man. I mean,
Mhm.
it's this tall. It's got 4 good sets of leaves on it.
Shit.
Cotyledons are like way the fuck down there. It's like noted up. It's just real small because it's in the shade. So I'm hoping it'll, now that we're getting some longer hours of daylight and stuff, it's like up against a fence and stuff. So it's like really in the shade. But it still might. I mean, it's growing, and I just I'm kind of amended that area, gave it some some, I don't want to say I'm thinking straw and hay in my head, but it's just grass. I gave it some mulch layer, you know what I mean, and tossing a little compost and stuff. So we'll see.
Good morning, sifter of golds. I like that. See, we are waking and baking as well as we are closing down the game for
That
us
is pretty
folks.
cool.
Love it.
That is, yeah, it's a good time right there. Where's it a good morning from? Might mind if I ask that, Sifter of Gold, because it sounds like you got to be somewhere on the other side of the world.
Australia.
Your guess is Australia, Scobo?
That's my guess. I don't know. We'll see.
I'm gonna guess Ireland.
Oh, bro, they're like
Really anti-cannabis over there.
meh.
They're going for it, man. We have some family over there, and I want to say that not direct family, like friends of family, and dude, crazy man. They moved over there, been living there for like 20 or 30 years now. Real wild.
It was Central Indiana red. We were both wildly
What, dude? What?
It's like
It's earlier there than it is here. I guess it is
it's earlier there than it is here. Baby, come back. Yeah, man. It is morning. You are technically correct, and thanks for the good laugh on this.
Correct.
What do we still have here? We still got 63 folks with us, man. That's awesome. I want to run through some names.
Told us you were from like
so
Siberia or something.
I will say good morning to Sifter of Gold. Dro and Doc are still hanging out. UK's still here. Maddie Fresh, cheers. What's happening? Dirty Qwerty, Dank Agenda, Mountain Skies. Let's see who else we have here. Michael's still with us. Now I'm going back so far they might not be with us anymore, so I may be shooting myself in the face. And yeah, I think I've got everybody so far else. Cheers. We have 6. So let's what time is it anyway? Where are we at? We're at 12:41, so we got like 19 minutes and we'll cut bait. So we should probably smoke one more, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Val's just still hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit too. Let's keep this
Maddie
shit
Fresh
going.
says, let's keep this shit
roll
going. I'm about to roll some J's.
I always feel bad because like I never want to be like just like a dead fucking air thing. So I don't know if you guys are vamping with it. It's cool.
Nah, the only time we got dead air going is when we're inhaling.
Paul Japan. Cheers, Red Setter Farm.
Cheers, Skilbo. Cheers, chat. Cheers, Daddy Red. Says it's after midnight. Correct in the morning.
He might not be up anymore. He might be having to hit the hay.
Oh, Daddy Red's in chat. He
Still?
just shouted out.
Oh shit.
Said,
he is too. It is after midnight.
reminding us the morning. Nanu abolished.
That's not the Nanu. That's the Star Trek Live Long and Prosper.
Oh, dude, it's Nanu to me. I'm a Morgan.
You got this.
Kid.
Do you have the suspenders, Red?
Dude, I would have. Yeah, no, but I would. I just don't have them.
A little cloud on them.
Haven't came across them. Not the right
I
ones.
wonder why. So, do you want to talk about that harvest from last night real quick? Because people were definitely wanting to ask you questions about it while you were doing it.
I got to harvest flow for the first time in a while. Not a year, but almost a year.
What's it smell like?
Let me think, man. Lemon gas ish. Like, yeah, it's pretty like a lemon gas, I'm gonna say. It's nice, man. I don't really know the lineage of it. I know
it's
that
old.
It goes
it's been
by,
around for a long time.
Yeah, I know it goes by Colorado Flow, it goes by Flow OG, a couple of other things like that. It's not the DJ Short direct lineage of DJ Short Flow. I do have a pack of DJ Short Flow seeds that he actually signed for me. And I think those might be for me personally. I don't know. I might try to grow them out. I might try to keep that pack. I might try to see if somebody else wants it someday.
Do you ever have halfbacks left over that you just never going to run? Yeah.
I have like Sweet Pink, I think is one of them. That's a second generation, which is JD Short, DJ Short's son. That is Pink Champagne, and I think DJ Short Blueberry. Had some really cool phenos that came out of it. They were all kind of the same size, same structure, but really had like almost like a bubblicious bubblegum type of a.
Oh, see, that's a keeper for a lot of people.
They're
like they wish they could get those bubblegum terps back.
It threw early bananas, man. Threw bananas and like.
And you couldn't finish it?
No. it was like 30 days. Bananas.
Oh no.
No. Dude, if it throws bananas on day 60, I'll finish it. If it throws bananas on day 30, I'm kicking it. It's not coming back. Or I mean, I'll check for light leaks and see if I had a crazy pH issue or something. But I mean,
I'm like you, I'll run it
gonna,
again, and if it does it again at the same point as it did the last time, then it won't go through a third time. And in fact, if I'm holding a clone of it, I get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's responding to pH with the herm, I don't want to keep it because that's something that could potentially happen, you know. And I want to, you know, that's, I guess, if I'm something I'm looking for, it's resistance to my techniques. You know what I mean? I want to have strains that are, you know, we collaborate. You know, just like I would collaborate with somebody else, I want the strains to collaborate with my environment, with my style, and everything. That means that
I don't want to just have to drag it kicking and screaming to the finish line, and I don't want to be drug kicking and screaming to the finish line. You know, I want to be at the point where when I get near the end of harvest, I'm like, man, I really wish I had more of these lined up to go in next. So because I'm like that with the GG4 right now, is it's not being harvested because I didn't run it this time. I ran different genetics. Still holding it. In fact, I got trees to go in, but I'm gonna miss that for the next, you know, couple of months because, you know, I've got very little left. So I have to ease off the gas pedal on that jar and move to, you know, working with something else. Because I hate that. I there's a couple of different things I wanted to say earlier. We're talking about cannabis and going into it young when you were on the dare thing. You said there was two types of people. And I had a thought at the time, high though it was, that there's two types of people. The first time you smell cannabis, you either want to smell it immediately again by sniffing the bag twice, or wild horses won't drag you towards sniffing it again. You'll constantly make the pew face. Think about that. I know which group I was in, but you did say you came from Dare, so I don't know. They may have got you with the propaganda early, and you had to break free of the oppressive miseducation of Red Center Farm. He answers me with an
I gotta say goodnight to Daddy Red. No, Daddy Red, thanks for hanging out.
Daddy Red, thank you for coming through as always.
Dude, so Dare was like 5th grade. I was molding little clay pipes and smoking like leaves in the woods and shit in probably the end of 5th grade, probably borderline 6th grade. Dare got me curious, man. Dare had me, yeah, I know, it's funny.
You twisted, didn't it?
Oh, sneaking, wanting to attempt to sneak. I mean, I never really snuck cigarettes or anything. It was more or less really interested in like the grass, man. It was the reefer. Somebody told me that like
the reefer madness.
Yeah, man. Somebody told me there was like the shit ragweed or something. So we'd find these whatever plants had 5 leaves. And I was always looking for weed in the woods, man. Any plant that looked like it might have been weed in the woods. I was like, 5 leaves, that motherfucker, let's dry it out and smoke it. I had no idea what the fuck to do. It was a stupid kid.
You would have thrown the buds away and smoked the leaves because that's what the propaganda was the leaves.
Yeah, totally, man. Totally had no idea. Had, you know, grew my first plant, some shake seeds. You know, I had actually tried. First time I tried seed was tried weed. It had seed. It was by myself, but I saved those seeds. I was curious, man. I got hoed out and stood up by this one dude. He sold me some pipe tobacco instead of weed. I knew he had weed because he was like, well, you know what? I didn't know for sure he had weed. If he sold me pipe tobacco, the weed that he was flicking around and showing off.
Look at how the stories change. As soon as Daddy Red goes on his way to bed, the stories take a drastic turn for the fucking
might
worse
still
here.
Be in there listening. It's okay. This is from long ago. I wasn't doing too stupid of things, I suppose. But yeah, man, he hosed me with some pipe tobacco. I was mad. So I told this one dude about it, and he's like, you know what, man, that sucks.
Did he give you a joint?
Dude, he hooked me up with like a fat sack that he like stole from his mom. It was crazy. We were young, dude. We were young, like 14 or something. Yeah, dude, he totally Robin Hood me. It was awesome. He hooked me up with this fat sack, not a joint or anything, so I had to figure it out. I had a pack of like Tops rolling papers.
Well, we already know that you know how to do the corncob pipe.
Yeah, no, I did. I rolled my own joint. I rolled my first joint. I already knew how to roll. I was practicing with ragweed leaves and shit for like however many weeks, right?
I can remember that we had a corncob pipe for like exactly one session.
Dude, my tax guy, he has an ashtray with just cashed out corncob pipes. Like he goes through like 5, 10, probably 10 corncob pipes a day.
Get the fuck out of here.
Dude, cashed out corncob pipes. He's not
using a torch on them.
Dude,
he's smoking meth out of these fucking things.
Dude's Popeye, dude. Just Popeye does my taxes, and it's pretty cool.
But you live quite the life where you have the Naval Academy doing your fucking taxes. The Admiral.
I saw where they filmed Popeye. Speaking of Mork and Mindy, Robin Williams played Popeye, and they filmed it in Malta. Yeah, the where they did the octopus fight in the end. I got to see where they did the great octopus fight. And,
but I seen that shit when it came out. That's like 400 years ago.
The Azure Archway, it actually fell down
recently. Yeah, man.
It fell down a couple years ago, and it was a huge deal in Malta. I'm actually half Maltese. My mom's 100% Maltese. My great grandmother came over here, and
I think it's awesome that you've like been over there because it's super beautiful.
It's beautiful, man. Yeah, spent 5 days or 7 days or something there.
See, instead of being Red Setter Farm, you should have been the Maltese Falcon. Maltese Falcon. Yeah, man.
Yeah, I still got
There's
a lot
of burner account coming up.
Maybe if I was full true and true, but just the half. The other side of me is a lot of European, English, Irish, Scottish, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Heinz 57.
Heinz 57 for sure. A little bit of everything. The I guess my great grandma, or not my great grandma, my grandma, I guess had some plants in her backyard back in the day. It's the Scottish side had some old plants. I have no idea about the Maltese farming though. I know that they've been working on trying to get some things going over there, but it's still pretty illegal. When I was there, I didn't smoke.
Sure.
I didn't smoke. Found it at all.
I always found that in Europe that
like a motherfucker.
I could find hash, but it was harder to find cannabis itself. That's more in Northern Europe. But
I probably could have found hash or ecstasy or something a lot easier. Yeah.
Like hash, Red.
Yeah, dude, I probably should have said it. But over there it's probably hash, like it's probably opium hash or something.
No fucking idea, man. You don't really get. They didn't get like a lot of question asking back in the day. It's already a language barrier for me, brother.
Well, yeah. I mean, the cannabis routes, the cannabis hash routes. That was a big pipeline for the opium hash routes as well. I think a lot of it would be hybridized, mixed in.
Well, there it is.
Makes sense. I mean, it would make sense too, I'd imagine.
I'm Irish.
Well, I think about that kind of stuff. I think about that, and when I think of other people's perceptions when they've gotten like too fucked up off of weed. How you hear like, oh, granddad's cannabis.
Yeah.
Nothing like today's weed, so potent. But then you also hear the other story where somebody like took a hit off of something and it stirred them crazy.
But I think that's a lot of propaganda, though, bro. That's all that fucking jive ass bullshit from back in the day. I'll give you a good. No, check it out. So I got one for you right now. One of the things that I can remember being perpetuated a lot was the reason people didn't smoke hemp was because it would give you a headache. Wah, 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 wah.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of that. I think that comes from it being ditchweed and it being sprayed with city processes or road trucks and shit. That ditchweed was a big thing in the Midwest, and it was all hemp. I think it was all like textile weed, and it had a real hard time eradicating it.
It
I
wanted to
mean,
survive.
it yeah, dude, it just keeps growing. Like I said, I got volunteers all over. The birds ate most of them, but I mean, I had
But it's
volunteers in
great
February.
at self-proliferation. Like, think about this. If you grew a field of hemp and you let it go to seed, you didn't harvest any of it, what would happen next year or the year after that? Would it just remain fallow, or would those
All
seeds
your
pop?
neighbor's
And
weed would have seeds in them.
I'm just saying, it will self-proliferate itself.
Yeah, dude, it totally will. But what I was going with is that, okay, for example, man.
Hold on, I gotta say this about Dank Agenda. He says, "I'm so high, I just look for the carb on my joint for a second." Cheers, Dank Agenda. That means the late session is doing exactly what it's supposed to be.
That is exactly what ends up happening.
Somewhat of an entertaining, off the wall conversation and a great chat that's doing all the heavy lifting for me and Red.
Pass your lighter or you pass your scissors.
Pass the scissors, baby.
No, but what I was getting at was, you know, maybe I confused it with talking about the grandpa's cannabis or whatever. But so somebody I'm near and dear with is older, much older than me, and when she was younger, and this was probably in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, tried weed and blew her mind, tripped, had like a psychedelic experience, and from then never wanted to try it. So I'm saying is like sometimes people had hit some potent shit, right? And like, and that's supposed to be the opposite, right? The shit from back in the day is not supposed to be as potent as from today. So why were people getting blasted in the head to a point where they didn't want to try today's weed, or they're basically have a form of PTSD where they don't want to, you know, psychologically they can't go back down that rabbit hole. Well, I'm thinking they got hit with that either opium hash, they got hit with here's some other things, man. Research chemicals have been around for a real long time in the form of PCP is one of them that has actually been around probably since like the 60s.
Here's what
and
I would
has
say.
made its way.
Here's what I would say to all of this:
not cannabis, but has made its way into drug culture. So you might just not know what your buddy's got in. Man, I don't know.
Look, check it out.
I know
Here's
for
the thing.
fact
Cannabis
that
costs
after
money.
I hit some shit, the dude told me like there's coke in that or some stupid shit, you know, long time ago.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that shit happens, dude. Like that shit does happen. People do lace shit and they don't tell you. They dose.
But some people just don't do well with cannabis or being quote unquote not in control. Some people freak the fuck out over that. I'm not saying that to be disrespectful in any way. Some people
I'm not
just
saying that
really
doesn't happen either.
Yet they just aren't cool with it. But you know, don't think that
I'm
strong
just saying
cannabis hasn't
on
been
one
around,
scenario that some people may have been dosed in their day and not known it, and their perception comes from a completely different substance than what cannabis even is. Like in a summary,
I'm sure there's some. I think a lot of people just get like they really deal with anxiety and paranoia.
In my life a couple of times, you know what I mean, in a few different experiences.
What is the one strain that you swore off of that you said, I will never smoke this again because it makes me way too paranoid, way too anxious, absolutely going in the wrong direction of why I picked up the bowl in the first place? What is it?
Nothing. But when I smoked this shit down in Florida with my cousin, I hallucinated. I thought that I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and I thought that it was the craziest weed ever, and I didn't know what kind of weed it was. I'd never smoked any weed like that in my entire life, and I'd searched for it forever. I was like, give me the fire. What kind of fire you got? Oh, this is Gans. I smoked the Gans. Oh, no, that ain't it. What the fuck's going on? Just smoke this, smoke that, smoke this, smoke that. I'm having a conversation with my uncle a few years ago, who's up from Florida, and he's like, man, it sounds like you got wet. It sounds like you got hit with some PCP or something. It sounds like he hit you with something. And I was like, and I was thinking about it. You do the research on where that stuff is like heavily like into like the markets are. Like Florida is a huge market of that. Like real lots of issues with that, like in Florida. And
With what, substance abuse in general?
yeah, well, that specific substance, yeah, and substance abuse in general. But what people do is they dip their cigarettes in it, and it's
Wet.
ether, whatever, yeah, and a couple different substances that they could potentially use. Well,
Okay.
you know, the night he rolled it and stuff, he disappeared for a really, really long time.
Dank agenda with the called it a Sherm sticks with the Sherman Helmsley.
The boofer or whatever, dude. I'm telling you, man. And it was
shit.
weird. Everything was upside. And once my uncle told me this, I was like, this is something I've been trying to figure out for like 20 years. Like, why did I get so high off this weed? And I couldn't figure it out. And then my uncle was like, I was like, it makes a little bit of sense now. So, I mean, ever since then, I was often thinking, well, I wonder how many people that's actually happened to and have been afraid of that experience to the point where they never want to try cannabis again, you know?
The love boat. Fucking love chat, dude. Sometimes it's like, oh shit. You guys are great. Shit. What do we still have here? It's 1 o'clock on the dot. So let's take a quick, let's see what we got here. How many people we still got left? We have, it looks like 56 people are still hanging out with us by my phone. And the chat is definitely going. Let us know in the chat. Red and I are, I'm going to go get a drink real quick. Let us know in the chat if you want us to keep going, if you want us to wrap it up, shut the fuck up.
I'll roll a joint scope. I actually have papers. You know that? I don't think he heard me anyway. Butt naked. Dr. Dankenstein, right? Friday? Is that a Friday reference? That's excellent. That's hilarious. Yeah, so I don't know the truth behind that. I might have got hustled when we got Thai food. I'm not sure. But experience I'll never forget. I'll tell you that much. It really is. I was dared to steal a grapefruit from the neighbor's yard. I remember this. I remember it completely vividly, like it was yesterday. Looked for my wallet. Looked for my wallet for an hour.
What do we
It was
got?
in the bathroom where I looked like 4 times. Right on the sink. I looked on that sink like 4 times. And it was sitting right there. Like, I was tripping. It was crazy. Somebody said butt naked down the street, Scobo, so I had to I went back to that story again. Yeah. Good old Friday reference. Yeah. It was a crazy experience, man. Yeah. So anyways, we don't do that. Yeah. So I definitely realized that wasn't weed. So we don't do that. And I prefer what weed gives me. I'm not really in search of that kind of experience again.
We do have a question in the chat.
Yeah. What's up?
Aldridge 25 says, let's party and talk drying and curing with you guys.
I dig it. We can get back to that.
Before I do, I want to say this is, I know that a lot of people are anti-drinking, and I get that, but sometimes it's like when you find a really good strain that you used to have a long time ago and you find it again. I recently found a beer that I used to have when I was in service, since we're talking about Memorial Day, and this is called Bitburger, and it always says Bit ein Bit on it, which means 1 beer please, and it's a premium Pilsner. And the reason I have this is because when I was in the service, I was stationed in the city. So, cheers.
Cheers. Oh, yeah. Right on. Yeah, cheers to anybody out there drinking a beer, too. That's pretty cool.
So let's talk drying and curing for a second. We talked about it earlier.
Well, you know, I mentioned
that we were dealing with humidity issues.
That too dry. I mentioned that too dry of a scenario, you know. Mm-hmm. But right now, like, we are definitely dealing with, in Michigan, we're dealing with too wet of scenario right now. And so at scale, you're probably going to have a dehumidifier. I hope you have a dehumidifier or a couple of them. If you're small scale, you know, what are you doing? So Skilbo, you mentioned earlier about turn the air conditioning on in the house, which works when you're drying. I was going to mention, if you're small scale enough, could you dry in a cardboard box? Do you think that would help?
I think it could. I think that it's very similar to the whole paper bag issue, which is you're using some kind of containment to hopefully pull the moisture out of the air, so that it'll cause the moisture that's deep within the bud that has yet to come to the surface, basically to have that moisture redistribute towards the outside of the bud so that it can evaporate off, dry out, whatever you want to call it.
Hopefully it'll go into the box.
You know what? We were talking about silver squirrel earlier, so I'm going to smoke some Q&A copper, which I mentioned earlier. Switch up the game.
You know, you have a bunch of jars you have sitting cured over there.
Yeah, but see, people think that I have like a bunch.
What's the oldest jar you have sitting? What's the oldest jar you have sitting? 3 months, 6 months?
Oh, I think no.
45 days.
I think just like the last. You're killing me, Smalls.
I'm so sorry, dude.
That just means the hash is working. So the oldest thing that I recently had, but I just finished it and smoked it, was I still had some of a plant that I grew that was called Twisted Citrus. And it came as a seed from a dispo bud that somebody had saved. And so when they handed it to me in the dispo jar that had the testing percentages on there for the plant, and inside were 3 seeds. So I popped one of them, just, I had room. I was like, okay, I can run one more plant. And I said, this is supposed to be like 100% sativa. So I didn't top it and do anything to it. I wanted to see what this bitch would look like.
No, geez.
Wow. It was a single, here's the weird thing, grew to the moon, right? But now imagine a plant that looks like a Christmas tree that throws like 4 arms around, and then when it goes up to the next row, it throws 4 arms that are like separated, and it just goes all the way up to the top. And the top buds on these things were just like, damn, they were huge. Beautiful smoke, great, super orangey. I used to tell people that there was a point where it just had that real old school, like late 80s, early 90s, when they used to have like the California orange would come through. It's like, woo. So I recently smoked that with a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in a long time. He was why I kept that for so long.
That's the oldest you have sitting there?
Yeah. Right now, I think that the oldest thing that I have is I have some Q&A copper from that got jarred in November. So that makes it 7 months old.
And have you gone back and opened it at all? Or do you open it often?
Yeah.
Do you keep it closed?
I keep it closed unless I'm going to smoke out of it. So what I tend to do is if it really loses its nose.
How has its nose shifted? Has it gotten sweeter or more sour, or more bland, or
I feel that, well, what happens usually is after a certain amount of time, the smell doesn't go away, but I feel like it doesn't recede in the sense of like it goes away. It recedes in the sense of like if you have to open the plant up a little bit more. So you can't just take a bud and sniff it and be like, oh, wow, this still smells fucking great. You have to actually get in there and almost crack it a little bit, and then you're just going to release that fresh spot. And for me, I find that tends to be more either sweet if the plant leans that way, or dank, weird if it goes the other way.
So
I've done some weird shit.
Bush
okay, go ahead.
I'm having you guide the story, but
lead the way, Socrates, with your questionings.
Basically, the sour diesel that I'm getting rid of it because as it sits for it can sit untrimmed for a while, a good month, good couple months, and then it can get.
When you say untrimmed, do you mean that it has just its fan leaves removed, but it still has all of its sugar and it needs to be trimmed and bucked?
Yes. Okay. Yes. It is like basically untrimmed for me, but like it's like post. Damn it! I got a little critter flying around in front of me. I got to get.
There's a critter at Red Setter Farm.
He was almost close. Anyway, so if you hear a clap, that's what that is. And I got him.
Do you have a clapper, Red, or do you have the clap?
Damn, I did it and I didn't get him. I just wasted a clap. So anyways, the sour diesel. So I like do my post harvesting as get rid of fan leaves, hang dry, and then I'll buck down into manageable pieces to where if they go into a bucket or a tote or a storage apparatus, they can be moved and not violently shook around, but rotated. Okay. For whatever the course of time that they need to store in there until they get they get either consumed by me or my patients. And then what I like to do is, within 24, 48 hours of being delivered to the patients or myself, I like to then put the scissors to it and open up the terpenes, and it brings out that flavor, brings out that smell and the flavor. So anyways, the sour diesel specifically, once you trim it, so this is after the totem, so it's already been cured.
So
Let's
it
say
hung for how long?
it hung. I don't know, man.
Pick a number. 3 weeks.
It varies. It varies throughout the year. 2 weeks. We're gonna do a normal drying.
2 weeks,
cure,
and
weeks.
we cut it down. We bucked
it.
it.
Did it great, dude. Great dry, great cure, man. We're 2 months after the storage. It's been funky. It's been great. It goes into a jar. It's great. Once it goes into that jar for like a few weeks, I don't know, a few weeks, month, 4 months.
It's losing its nose, is what you're saying.
It doesn't lose its nose. It like losing its nose would be okay. Its nose shifts. It goes like offensive. It gets an
Dank?
offensive,
or offensive like medicine-y?
like offensive dry. Yeah, like medicine-y. Yeah, man. It just
Borderline hay smell?
borderline.
But it can't be hay because it's dry.
Like, no, it goes like a bitter smell. It goes from like this sweet. It's like a diesel, so it has this like sweet lime pine smell, and then it goes to like this vinegary pine smell, if you will. So like think of how offensive like a vinegar pine would be.
I would get rid of it.
Yeah, right.
For the simple fact that I
that's
try to
that's
keep
like
a lot.
long storage, man. Long storage.
Okay.
Whereas other
but
stuff, long storage is
if
like
you
it still
have
smells good.
multiple
You break it up, it
strains,
smells great.
though, when you have multiple strains, though, for example, I have a lot of jars, but none of them are full. They all have varying little teeny amounts left in them, because it's not because I'm working through them. It's because I use them for specific things, or sometimes I enjoy a certain strain at a different time of the day or whatever. I like to close it down with either abolished OG or with Keweenaw copper. I like to wake up though with the Citro glue is a fun one to wake up with, and so is the TG4. Get you started right for me. Those are just things that I have right now. So, you just look at your jars and you figure out what you're going to do. And if you don't have what you need, you try to mix two things together to get where you want to go. To go back to
was that drying and curing?
We're still doing.
I'm sorry, Scobo.
We're still doing drying and curing.
This is. He was in striking distance. This is terrible. I gotta tell you the story. He was in striking distance, but he was on my microphone and it was unmuted. So I went to go mute my microphone and so I can smack him real quick. But I hit the microphone and he flew away. And distance so I could clap him, but I have this joint and you can't even see it because it's all green.
Put it in front of your shirt.
I'm rolling a joint.
Put it in front of your shirt and you can always see it.
Here. So I can't clap, but I might have Mr. Miyagi'd him right now.
Maybe you stunned it, Brad.
I need some chopsticks.
There's a fun thing about a housefly, Red. You ready? If you are trying to catch a housefly, always go behind them. They don't take off forward; they take off backwards, or so I was told. Could be incorrect, but I don't know. Yeah, this UK is saying that if his doesn't smell, he gives things the Spartan kick. And that's what I'm saying is I have a lot of jars, but it's going to take me a long time to go through them. So if it's only good for 3 weeks, it's kind of like I'm not going to gorge myself on this strain for 3 weeks. I just don't want to do that.
And in a long, extended version of a story where I got you to like tell me what's in your jars and all of that stuff, that's basically where I was getting at, was why I'm getting rid of the diesel.
Yeah.
that's why I can't, that's why that's the last time I'm running it, is because it's great. It's huge buds and it's
It yields
awesome
well, but
daytime smoke, man. Like I said, lime, pine, like real funky, fruity. It's greasy. It's got like all. I mean, it's marketability's there. You know what I mean? It just its shelf storage ability is
I don't
not
ever hear
there.
you talk about
It's
smoking it.
not as shelf stable as I don't talk about who
I don't hear you talk
smoking.
about it ever, and I know you don't have any hash of it really because why? Because it doesn't hash very well,
Because it's
probably as it
greasy.
ages.
It's greasy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. Yeah, I mean it does to a certain point, but I usually smoke it all. Um, I'm trying to think like the ones that I've been like, dude, believe it or not, the Girls Gone Wild sifts like crazy, and it's all purple. I mean, the plant's purple. I mean, it sifts like crazy. Well, the Grande sifts decently, but you don't
Which would
see it.
you prefer to smoke? Would you rather smoke Granddaddy Purple or would you rather try to smoke the Girls Gone Wild? I know you're going to say the Granddaddy Purple, right?
Um, I don't know, man. That's dependent on mood and
Uh,
time of year and a lot of things. I think
so, what's your
they're
GDP good for?
incredibly different. They're incredibly different highs. Very different highs. The Girls Gone Wild is almost a daytime stimulator. It's almost sativa esque, man. Like it's a huge plant. It's like a branchy plant, very branchy.
Who's the
And
breeder?
what's that?
Who's the breeder?
Hosa Farms. Yeah, big plant though. And the buds are like cookies buds, you know. Um,
They're dense, though.
reasonably dense, but just like really purple.
Oh, you didn't do a back roll on this, did you?
Not on this one. Probably should have. It was just a
Talking
ton of
and
weed,
rolling. A
ton of
ton of
weed,
weed.
but it's just so dense. It's only as
So, what is it?
what did I put in here? Salad. This is salad. Whatever was on this tray. I think it's I know I smelled grape glee when I was breaking it up, so I think it's mostly grape glee. You know what it is? It's grape glee. It's all grape glee. That's what.
Handyman says, I missed the Girls Gone Wild video channel.
Dude, the
That's some
commercials that
90s
would come
shit,
on,
man.
watching MTV, trying to go between Beavis and Butthead and what was it like Love Line or something, and then boom, Girls Gone Wild commercials.
Yeah, they were late night goofy shit.
I've always been on that kind of insomniac schedule.
Oof.
Maybe it was because television was in my room or something, you know, and it just
At least you had cable for a
uh,
decent portion of your life. I'm sure you didn't go without it as a
yeah,
kid.
yeah. I was very fortunate. I had cable. I got a computer when I was a teenager, you know.
Dude, it used to
So
be
I always
rough
had
back in the day.
distractions.
It used to
What's
be
that?
like it used to be rough back in the day in the 70s. We had like 13 fucking channels and shit. You're like, oh, you watch, you know what I mean? You're
When I was a
like,
kid,
oh,
I remember like a lot of like not a lot of people had cable, you know, and
shit
cable
was
was
expensive.
we had some TVs that had the dials and rabbit
Yep.
ears and stuff like that, you know. At the house, I'm pretty sure we always had cable, I think. Not many channels. There's only like 20 channels or something, 25
Oh, the
channels.
agony of it for you, right?
Yeah, man, crazy first world problems we had. Dude, you know, it's I want to get rid of my cable. I kind of just want to have all internet, to be honest with you. I dig this. I get I do all my sourcing, all my news, everything's pretty much internet.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice having I don't know, some channels are just on sometimes. TV is just kind of background noise sometimes. Podcasts and stuff like that is usually in my ears for the most part. Music,
Music.
music.
Music. Shit.
Jinx, and you owe me let's say a doobie. I don't really drink Coke, so
I
Jinx, you owe
got
me
you.
a hash chillum, dude. Oh, I'm gonna shout out another one. Glass blowers out there. Anybody knows any glass blowers? Point in my direction, please.
They're
If I
everywhere on
find something
Instagram.
nice, yeah, maybe if you hook me
Why
up,
don't you ask what you're
maybe
looking
I'll hook you
for,
up
and
some
people
seeds or
can
something.
tell you who does stuff. Are you looking for more chillins?
No, man, I'm looking for a hash pipe. I'm looking for something specifically like a spoon or I gotta get in front of it.
So you're gonna have to do a custom
Maybe
one.
a Sherlock. Yeah, I want like a Sherlock that has like I don't want the hole in the bottom. I want the hole up in the top and the side,
Right.
or maybe like the three
So
hole.
the smoke from the hash gets pulled through it that way rather than down.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So the hash can kind of sit in the bowl, and the top
Yeah.
cherry can smolder, and the smoke goes sideways out into the holes. Rather
Three-holed
than
hash
down
pipe is what Jeff's calling
three-hole
it.
hash pipe.
Yeah.
Yeah, three-hole hash pipe. Yeah.
See, Andy Man knows the days of 13 channels was rough. Michael knows. Oh man. Whew. That's a fucking proper joint though, Red. I'm impressed. And I could hear how sticky that shit was too. That's what it was like over at Abolish House, dude. I was trying to roll up that rainbow, man, and it was just like that. You just had to go like super, super slow and put a whole bunch in it, just like keep working
Yeah.
at it, man.
Yeah, dude, it was a nice little pile on there, and
I
that's
want
what
to
you
give
got
a
to do.
shout out to him. Oh, I
Take
see
the
Trey
time.
Bologna. I've seen him in there. I just haven't shouted him out yet, I don't think. Is Abolish still around? Cheers if you are, brother. He's kind of a night owl too.
Might have his headphones on, sleeping,
Waiting to see if he's
pillow,
getting called out.
listening to our pillow talk,
The sultry sounds of Red Setter Farm.
taking in the information via osmosis.
So with that hot weather today, the fucking outdoor shit got its first fucking battle test. He says, "Oh yeah, he's hanging in there doing paperwork." Imagine him like Clark Kent at the Daily Planet shuffling
So I'm
papers.
I'm curious. I actually I'm kind of going through this right now. My seedlings, right? Seedlings, they need to be, dude. It's drying out, man. They're in the sun. They're drying out. So we stayed at the farm, and I wasn't going to be here in the morning when I'm usually taking them out like into the early sunshine. And then I kind of like between like 4 and like 5, 6 o'clock, I'm kind of pulling back under the shade covers. 4 to 6 o'clock is like peak sun time this time of year. So if you're trying to harden off anything, you want to avoid those kind of hours of direct sunlight. If you got cloud cover, you're fine. If you got rainy days or whatever, you're good. Keep them outside. But so I kept them under our balcony and kept them in the shade, this morning. But I was kind of worried, are they going to dry out on me? So I had to kind of do some extra management last night, like add a little bit of extra water to like the trays, and hope that it didn't rain and flood, little
Yeah.
things like that, but everything seems to have made it okay.
Well, there's two things
And
to consider. Is okay. So this isn't a small cup, right? So do you go with a really, really dense mix so you don't have to water as much? Is that your solution? Or do you go the opposite direction, which is if you're going to get flooded out, you'd make sure that you have something that's really, really airy?
in a perfect world, to avoid the flooding out, I would have holes in my 1020 trays, which I could simply do by just drilling holes in them. I would really like to just source the trays that are like crate material on the bottom, would be,
Oh
or
yeah,
kind of do my own thing. But
yeah, like a shipping crate. I know what you mean.
yeah, otherwise I just like to use cocoa because it does retain the moisture.
That's what I was thinking too.
Otherwise I would use like peat or something base, but I do use perlite. I keep it simple and I just go with royal gold because I have bags of royal gold tuber that I grow my cannabis in, and that's what I use my hydroponics in. So what I do is I use that for my
Those stay
indoor,
wet. I've used that before.
and I use it for my indoor starting medium because it's free of the pests and things I know haven't been sitting outside, or it's not in my garage in a block of peat or something. Um, and I use that just to start. Now, if I'm starting stuff outside, I have like a big bag of like Pro Mix and shit like that I just kind of keep in my garage for outdoor stuff, and mixing up pots and things.
Question in the chat. Andy Man wants to know. He says, do y'all foliar feed between waterings of 150 to 200 parts per million? Yes, I do. What I do is I do a combination of, these are all in veg. I do the coconut water, the aloe vera, as well as soap nuts, which is part of my IPM. So I definitely do, and I noticed that the plants really seem to appreciate getting a little rinse every once in a while. Red, do you want to add to that? He says, I foliar more kelp. What I'll say about kelp, kelp will green the shit out of your plants and it'll perk something up. But if you use way too much kelp, maybe not so much as a foliar, but in your system, you will create a whole lot of runner branches on your plants, which is not a good thing because you'll be fighting that and having to cut all that bullshit out and thin the plant out later on in flower if you use too much kelp. Let's see what else. What do you use to flush your DWC hydroponics? When I did DWC like 6 years ago, I used to simply do a change of water, and I would try to make sure that my water was at 5.7, and I would run it for, I don't know, at least, I think back then, I think in the beginning, I probably did it for 7 days. And then, if you don't like the numbers that you're getting, then, do it again. Red, what about you?
Foliar. I don't really use any biologicals or minerals. I use H2O. Just basic
Liquid
water.
Carmine CalMag, I see that as well, twice a week from Aldridge.
In the wintertime, when it's really dry, it helps with humidity. And then in the summertime, and just normally, it just helps keep them clean, dust them off. I don't know if they get a boost out of it or not, but I find that, spritzing some young clones or spritzing some plants that like aren't really looking the best, and you kind of like give them a little clean up and you hit them with some water a little bit, and they turn right around and start looking a lot better. I'm in hydroponics, so it's a little bit different, but I don't know. I mean, even the outdoor plants, I put them in the ground and kind of do the same thing. They just like
Michael says that you can taste kelp as well.
As far as flushing, I've never ran DWC, but I dropped my EC.
Yeah, you just don't add anything that is going to do it. Remember, you're not pulling anything out of the plant. You're just making it so that there's no more available to it.
Curious about the DWC flushing because there's not really a medium to flush.
No, you're just trying to make the plant senesce, which is basically use up all the nutrients that are in it. And then once it yellows out because it can't get anything, then what I used to do back then is I would start, as the leaves really yellowed, I would remove those as it became closer and closer to harvest, so that it would force the plant, in my mind back then, to have to feed on the other green leaf that were like the secondary ones. So then I would remove those, and then by that time that's done, you keep looking at your scope and you're pretty good. So that was just my method back in the day. I'm sure that there are much better ways to do it.
Man, flushing is such a weird topic.
I know.
So I can understand, like, if my EC was like 2, 3, like if I'm running like 2,500 parts per million, and I'm just like a salty feeder. My pots are white on the outside because there's just so much residual, and I'm having to do 30% runoff. And
can I make a clever little statement on that about the white ring around your pot? You know what you should call that?
I don't know.
No, there should be a name.
I don't get those.
Okay, you know what I would call it? Wasted money.
Yeah, that's exactly what
that's what that ring around the fucking top of your pot is called, is wasted money. The next time somebody asks you, there you go.
You're looking at your
see, get high and come up with clever shit.
They should be in the bag, or they should be in the leaves. There's a big I think that there's a misconception, right? Okay, so the way that I look at the theory of hydroponics, and the way that I look at the theory of like organics, and the way that the plants grow, plants are doing the pulling. Like, plants are, the sun and everything's helping. It's all in conjunction with itself. But like, you're not forcing plant to do anything. You're just making things available, and
Right.
then the plant's doing its job. So when the plant is ready to die, like, and I noticed this in hydroponic in my drain to waste is my wastewater will increase the last 3 weeks of the plant's life because the
Because
plant
it's
just
not drinking.
stops drinking.
Right.
It stops drinking and stops feeding altogether. So I mean, maybe a big portion of flooding is just I'm I don't need to feed my plants any nutrients because
Right.
they don't need any nutrients. I'm just wasting money.
So if you have a plant that is at 8 weeks, you know, everybody's like, well, you have to do a 2-week flush. Well, you don't necessarily have to do that. What if you just stopped feeding nutrients after that point and only
There's
watered?
some good guidelines and some good standards. I definitely think if you're a 2000 ppm or a
Oh, if you're kicking it up like that, yeah.
2.0 EC or a white ring grower, I think if you're like that, you
What
need
kind
to
of grower?
I don't white ring grower. If you got a
White Ring Brothers
bullseye,
unite!
if you got the bullseye in your pots, like, yeah, you might have some mineral buildup. And the reason I say you might have some mineral buildup inside your plants because I've seen it. I've seen calcium and shit like coming out of the stalks and stuff. It can happen when you're a salty feeder. I don't I don't know. Um the I don't know how much it's gonna be retained inside like the flowers and the buds, and how much like the ash test and things like that play into the story. But I think that in organics, you shouldn't have to
You
flush
can't see
anything
it.
in organics at all. You should be able to reuse your medium every time over, just like outdoor. You're not
No,
flushing outdoor.
the
It
plant just yellows
rains
out, dude. That's what
it could rain all season long and flush all season, and you still get a healthy plant.
it's. It's a matter of
So
can the roots get oxygen? That's your only worry about if it rains all year. Is how
right,
impacted is the soil?
yeah, you're not gonna grow well in
But I
in a
mean, I grow
swamp.
in that bed, and so a question that sometimes comes up, or is something that surprises people, is when they learn that I go from easy swap pots and veg, and then I do a transplant into the 4x8 fabric raised bed. They're like, you don't start your plants in? I'm like, no, I don't know. That's my flower room. So that's why I use those pots, because it's easy for me to use like a small shovel and to very, very minimally disturb the soil, because I don't want to disturb the hyphae or any of the mycelium or anything else that's going on in my soil, all the good shit. I don't want to turn my soil all the time now. So when I took the last plant out, I shook the dirt out into the bed. But now the problem is I've gotten to the point where I have so much soil on the bed that sometimes I have to just remove a bunch of it. But instead of getting rid of it, what I do is I'll take that and I'll fill half of a large tote with that used soil, and then I'll come back through and I'll add other soil to it and then reuse that. Otherwise, it tends to be too hot to use as like starters. So I'll buy, sometimes I'll buy just different shit. I've bought Sunshine Number 4 to be a starter. What else have I used? I've used Happy Frog as a starter for them. So just whatever's available.
Dude, I'm seeing so many questions right now. I gotta throw out
Okay, so let's see, because I was just
the white
vamping.
ash one. I want to just touch on, and I think that there might be
This is good. Let's
there
hear
might
it.
be a lot of different variables that go into that, and I think that some of them have to do with is anything being sprayed on the flowers? What are your moisture levels with the flower? What other, not just your NPK macros and micro minerals, what other kind of boosters and all kinds of other things? Maybe there are some things that are residually lingering in the buds that might
You're
need to be
saying like
flushed
things
out.
like
That is
PGRs or
extra and
something
not
like that?
natural. Yeah, like things that
Okay.
are
Yeah.
unnaturally occurring.
Well, the one thing you don't
Maybe
want to
there are some force
see,
feeders.
even though it is the holiday, or it's now the holiday past, but the one thing you don't want to be is some unwitting sparkler when you light your joint. You don't want to see it do the fucking sparkler routine on the end of you. It's just not good. Skillbo, what week would you cut out Photo Plus? Photo Plus, I think I would probably, I just have a bottle of that right now. It's for my microbes and stuff, probably week 3. Oh, just use it when I want to. I'm very much not the person you want to ask grow questions to. I'm not organized like that. I just kind of look at the plants and go, oh, you know what? I probably should do this.
If that's a you know you speak on experience, so that's
Sometimes, yeah,
has merit,
didn't kill them. But no, I don't think that I need to use it much longer than that. And then I think being specifically in the beds, I don't really need it. I've taken Photosynthesis Plus and added it to my tea in hopes of maybe trying to populate the brew with it. I just don't add it. I haven't really found any kind of data on it to say whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, so I don't support or
what
talk against it.
what
It's
is
just something I'm experimenting
photosynthesis
with.
plus scribble?
Let
I'm sorry,
me
I'm not
grab the bottle real quick.
I see Andy Man. How early is too early to show senescence? That's going to. I can't throw a day at you because that's all going to depend on phenotype. But I would say you're going to want to run it and go with. Hopefully, the breeder has some information for you, and at the lowest date, start watching the plant and keep an eye on the trichomes. Flower it once. Once your trichomes are in, getting milky, it's getting ready to senesce. So you could attempt to flush it there. You could let it go a little longer and then flush it there. Grow it a couple times before you really dial it in, but eventually you'll figure it out and you'll determine on by visually watching the plant or counting days at that point. You'll be able to note it and be able to count your days, assuming your conditions are the same every round. But Scobo, we were talking about how early is too early to show senescence or something, but I was
Oh,
basically
so
saying
that could
how
be underfeeding sometime.
no, well, I took that question as a win, but yeah, I mean, if you want to say my plant's yellowing off, is it and it's too early? Yeah, I would say that.
I just don't think that in a lot of instances, you, let's say that you have a 9-week plan, okay? What should you really be putting in your weekly mix near the end if you're trying to, whether you're trying to flush or whether you're trying to let the plant senesce or whether you're trying to let the plant sort it out, whatever it may be, you can assist it. Sometimes you can go in there and if you start removing leaves later in flower, you're forcing the plant to use things up. But you can also fucking stress the plant out, and that's probably not a good thing like that. It's just we all make choices at this. But as far as this, you asked me what photosynthesis plus was, and I don't want to leave it dangling. Um, Basically, what it is bacterial. So it has a bunch of different bacillus strains. It has a Rhodosudomona. It has the Glommus. It has the Rhizopagans. It has the Sclerodermas. Um, it's really, really, it's very diverse. So what it says is it promotes biological functions at both the plant's foliar and root substrate levels. It enhances photosynthesis using CO2 to improve plant efficiency, utilizes the sun's energy and transport minerals and carbon to the plant at much improved rates, promotes plant vigor. The numbers on it are 0 to 0.5 to 0.9. So it's very, very much, very light. But yeah, enhanced photosynthesis believed impossible to obtain. Now, that's just an ad. I don't want to read that. Anyway, I got that originally as part of like a free sample, not this one. I've actually bought this one. There is a place called, I think it's called Microbe Life or Hydromicrobe or something like that. Anyway, the makers of this is Microbe Life Hydroponics. There you go. They had these kits, and I actually used it for a DWC run as an experiment, and it worked fantastic. It just like fucked the roots all up, but The smoke
Interesting.
at the end was good. Yeah. I don't know. I've done dumb shit, man.
But there probably wasn't anything you had to flush out or anything with that.
I I agree with
You
what
know,
you were saying in the beginning about the sparkler or the ash burn. A lot of times it's something. If you think back to when you had it, it may have been when you were battling spider mites, and so you might have bought some kind of product that you sprayed into flour because the only way that your buds can have shit on it is if you sprayed it on it. That's why everybody tells you stop spraying when you start to see bud formation. That's why a lot of people will go even further in that and say the day that you flip them to flower, you shouldn't spray anything ever again. So
no,
my thing is this is here's my reasoning on why I do what I do is I will spray until I start to see bud formation and then I will stop because you can see a couple days before when you know that they're going to start to show bud. But that gives me a chance so that I have been able to treat the plant completely through the stretch. So now all of the plant is protected rather than just saying, well, the new stuff, I guess if it just gets unhealthy, it's just going to be fucked. You know, if I'm dealing with PM or something and I've been using sulfur as a preventative, why would I not think it? I don't know. It just seems to me that anything that is new growth that's all stretch is susceptible. It's late session. I don't know. Kill me with the comments. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Well, think. Did
I
somebody use a
stumped you.
systemic?
I stumped you.
No,
I
I'm
don't know.
thinking of all these other reasons. I apologize. The because I'm thinking of uh this weed that I smoked, and I mean the ash
We
was
still back on
black.
that.
No, this is
Oh,
different weed. This is different weed. This was a couple years ago. I traded my buddy for some weed, and an ounce for ounce, and I got like four different kinds of weed. They look like marbles. All the buds look like marbles. They were very
machine trimmed.
yeah.
Like a
They
spin
were
trimmer?
yes yeah maybe like that or just like to give it the look of like this to give it like this commercial look and maybe it was hand trimmed but it was I don't know it was hard to say. I think it might have been hand trimmed. um there wasn't any crow's feet or anything like that. It was pretty marbly but anyways
Okay.
really dense, really rock hard, like super duper marbly. And the ash was black and Skilbo. I got like a whole paper of ash on this thing, dude. The ash was this, I just wouldn't break. The ash was like,
It's when it's hard like that.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Dude,
And
I
it
was
was
going to say that
black.
there's two different kinds.
And,
There's
and
the
and
black
all
ash, and then there's the
three
kind
of
that's
the
hard.
3 or 4 different flavors of weed all had this undertone of like the same specific
Something got sprayed.
flavor that was in there. So and as far as like when I grow and when I have I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see little speckles of black, but I mean, that's nothing compared to like this black log, like charcoal log,
I
when
don't
I put
judge
ash
a
on it.
smoke by its the way that it ashes. I just never have. But I do, I
I've
will
also
say
heard that
that,
it's all bullshit too. So,
yeah, I tend to be more on that side of things, except if it's that one hard black thing like that, then I'm thinking, okay, what is holding this shit together that fire couldn't
right,
fucking break
right.
loose?
Yes. And that's when I start thinking additives that are meant to boost, like maybe synthetic PGRs or something, and I think of
Bug
stuff like that.
smash.
Yeah, dude. So I'm a my 3 parts, which one of those parts is just magnesium sulfate. The other 2 parts are manufacturer brand Jax, and then I use I use Tribus like occasionally. I use it like a couple critical points throughout the plant's like formation. Bloom. Like try to get it when I transplant and veg. I try to get it when I flip the flower, and I try to get it a couple different times in flower. Otherwise, I'm just using my 2 part and the magnesium sulfate. And outdoor is a different story. Outdoors, you know I'm layering with whatever weeds and shit I have available, and I'm trying to learn how to make ferments and things. But at the same time, I'm trying to keep outdoors simple as possible. I want to like create a method of gardening that's like I'm not creating anything. I'm just it's as no-till as it can be. Like rather than even going crazy with doing ferments, I'm just taking my burdock, chopping it up, and laying it as one of my layers. You know, because getting out the jars and getting the you know you're still sourcing something if you're sourcing the sugar and stuff like that. So I don't even have to source layer and you know just tearing stuff out with my hands and throwing it in a bed. So or
There it is.
composting with it, you know. But yeah, man. So I don't even know what I'm talking about. To be honest with you, dude, I'm high. So where are we going with that, Scobo?
I think that's a good way to fucking get out of here, man. I think we are
Is that how
straight.
we end the show?
Yeah.
We end the show on that note, everybody. Yeah, my joint's done burning. Anyways, I talked it out, dude. I talked it out.
What do you say, Red?
I said too much or not enough. I guess I don't know.
Baby, come back.
Wax on, wax off.